Five, four, three, two, one.
All right then. Hello, willkommen, bienvenue. Let's have the Armist Inquisition again, episode 360, oh Jesus, 386 on Sunday the 10th of August 2025. I'm Phil.
And I'm Matt.
And tonight we're rejoined by our favourite anarcho-primitivist, Chris Tolworthy. Hiya, Chris. Did I get that right?
Yeah, anarcho-primitivist. I mean, technically, I'm an armchair anarcho-primitivist because I do not go out into the woods and try and live off the land. It's all sort of theoretical to me.
Oh, you need to tune in next week, Chris, because we're doing an episode all about self-sufficiency and going off-grid and things like that.
Oh, fantastic. I admire those people. I'm far too lazy. But I think that's the way to go, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, number 386, my favourite computer was a 386.
Oh.
Our first household computer was a 386. Which I guess would have been the early 90s, I guess, like 93, around there.
Something like that, yeah. My first sort of full-time job was, that's 93 too. We were into Pentiums back then, yeah. Yeah, the 386. We just gone on the 486s at work, and they're talking about Pentiums coming in at some point. Yeah, happy memories.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about bits and, what else? Silicon. Well, I suppose we are in a way, actually.
Yeah.
Because AI is quite prescient to your work. There's a link in the show notes for everyone for the Tedder Game website. All 3 books are there, free to download. Is that right, Chris?
That's right.
And I think at least 2 of them are available in hard copy so far as well.
These 2 so far. They still haven't sent me the 3rd one. Any day now to arrive. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a couple of minor changes to it. So the official final version of the Prophecy book will be out in a week or so.
Excellent. Super. And so we're here to talk about the 3rd book, Prophecy.
Yeah.
And
Prophecy, it's all true.
It's all true. I mean, people will say, well, that's just superstition, Chris. So there can't be any truth to it. How can someone predict the future accurately? It's impossible.
Well, that's the fascinating part of it. It's actually, we do it a lot more than we think. And the key is, it is not supernatural. It isn't. People start to say it's supernatural because they don't want you to see how simple and straightforward it is. I mean, the best way to prove it is think of your favourite movies, like sci-fi movies, for example. Have you ever looked at the dates they predict in sci-fi movies? Generally speaking, they all come true. And we're not supposed to think that. I mean, my favourite one, for example, is Terminator. Do you remember the date when the Skynet turns on in Terminator? Terminator, remember, was produced in 1984. A good year.
I don't remember. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. I want to say something.
Okay. August 1997. When August 1997 came, that is when Google turned on. I mean, coincidence? You know. The other big date, the one that's on the cover of the DVD, well, the VHS as it was back then, is 2029. Because 2029 is when the war ends, when either the humans win or the robots win. Now, according to Ray Kurzweil, who's very good at predicting these things, has a very good track record, 2029 is when we have, when computers can talk, the Turing test. Well, he reckons they're going to definitely pass the Turing test. Well, just based on how they doubled in speed every 2 years sort of thing. He's got a very good track record. Now, again, the movie was years before Kurzweil predicted that. So the date, and it's all going that way. We pretty certainly will have a really good Turing test passed by 2029. So again, the dates are right.
So
it's actually much easier to predict the future than you think. It's why they tell us somebody can't predict the future. That's the interesting question.
Does that imply that James Cameron predicted the future then, or the screenwriter for Terminator?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I mean, obviously they make it a bit flashy. You know, I'm not saying that robots are going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but your basic concept is that this world, this Skynet thing, which has all the world's data in order to control everybody, turns on in August 1997, and by 2029, the robots are so powerful it's us or them. I mean, but no, it wasn't magic. That's the thing. It's just anybody at the time who was really plugged into these things could see that's kind of the way it was going. They could say, okay, here it is now. How's it going to be in 10 years? How's it going to be in 20 years, 30 years? And the more they pay attention, the easier it is to predict these things. That's just one example. I mean, my favorite one, I was just looking at this the other day. I didn't put this in the book. I'm going to add this in the book. The Matrix. You remember the dates in the Matrix?
No, I've not seen it for years.
I can't remember
That's
those.
okay. Well, the famous one that they got right was Neo's passport expires on September the 11th, 2001.
Whoa!
Yeah. I mean, that's a bit of a coincidence. But in the movie, they reckon that the 1990s was like the last good time for humans. And that's why, remember the plot of the Matrix is you're inside a computer and nothing's real. Everything you think is real isn't. And the Matrix made the world look like the 1990s because that was the last time when it was okay. And we're looking back, I think they were kind of right. Just sort of things there. They predicted, let's see, the early 2000s is when we'll get to AI. Yeah, that's happening now. They reckon that 2090 was when they, let's see, get the date exactly right here. Am I getting it mixed up? Yeah, Animatrix had all the more details, but it's by the same people at the same time, so it's all canon. 2090 is when the Romans become equal to humans, and that's when they assert themselves, which happens to be the same date which Jack Kirby predicted, but he predicted it 40 years earlier. Whenever there's a date, you can pretty much guarantee Kirby would have done it first, about a generation earlier. And this is quite a common date. The point is, these people all agree, and the stuff tends to happen when they say it's going to happen. Another example. When I was young, there was a movie called The China Syndrome. You remember that? Well, you're far too young for you guys. 1979. They released it on the March of 16th, 1979, about how you could have a nuclear meltdown. 12 days later, we had 3 Mile Island. No, I'm not saying there's nothing magical, there's nothing supernatural. I'm saying if you're plugged into stuff, this is what people are interested in. And they pay attention and they think, well, what's going to happen? What's likely to happen? And we're actually a lot better at this than we think we are. And that's my point. And once you establish that, you can then start looking back at the Bible and saying, is this stuff as crazy as we think? Is this supernatural? Or are they just making very good guesses? And did their guesses come true? Nobody ever checks. In fact, your guy you had on last week about Beowulf was brilliant. I mean, I was sort of nodding my head all the time when you were saying, nobody checks this stuff. Why hasn't anybody noticed this? And I'm the same way. Just look at your favourite movies. Check the dates. Look at Bible dates. Check the actual prophecies. Don't check what people say the prophecies are. Go back to the actual text. See what the prophecy is. See if it happened. And see why they say it was happened. There's nothing supernatural about it. We are much better at predicting the future than we think we are.
Maybe that's an interesting place to go, is sort of biblical prophecy. What are some of the, like your favourite biblical prophets and prophecies that you believe have come true?
Well, my favourite one is the most famous one, Second Coming. The thing about Second Coming, everyone knows it's supposed to be this guy in the sky appears, and everyone can see him, and he sort of descends out of the sky and takes over the world. Okay, this is the standard view of the Second Coming. That's the Second Coming. Jesus in the sky descends, right? That's not in the prophecies. In fact, it took the Roman Church 400 years to persuade people that that's what it meant, because that's not what it says in the Bible. You had the Council of Nicaea, the Second Council of Nicaea, various councils from 325 on to, I think it was about 700 and something, and then the final council. And why did it take them so long to persuade them? I mean, when I used to be religious, well, more used to be conventionally religious, I kind of wondered, why did they have all these councils? And all the councils were about the nature of God, basically.
Yeah.
And various other things. You know, is God a 3 in 1, 1 in 3? Is he physical? He's not physical. I mean, why do they care? The reason they cared is because in the Bible, Jesus was just a guide. And he had the thing called the chrism, which means the anointing, which meant that he woke up one day and thought, I think God wants me to do something. And the gods back then were just nature, you know. So it was never about a special magical being. I mean, he was anti-king. It was basically socialism. I mean, it wasn't socialism, but that's the closest thing you'll see today. It's saying, let's have a revolution. Let's have the people defeat the rulers. And that's what it was about. And in fact, do you remember the famous prophecy of, not the prophecy, the story of, in Luke, the road to Emmaus, and Jesus is resurrected. And all his friends talk to him for hours, and they don't recognize him because it wasn't the same Jesus. It wasn't the same body. The point is that this Jesus thing is just It's the chrism, it's the anointing, it's the feeling that, yeah, I'm going to stand up to the man. And this is what the Roman Church hated. That's what the prophecies all say, that someone's going to take over and knock down all the kings. And the Roman Church hated that, so they had to say to them, no, that's not what it says. I know that's what the words say, but that's not what it means. What it means is you're going to have a new king. Yes, and he loves kings. All this stuff about Jesus hating kings, forget that, forget what he said. He really loves kings, and particularly loves us, and we're in charge, and we'll tell you when he comes or if he doesn't come. And since it's supernatural, it's never going to happen. But they can keep on using it as a way to control people and say, look, we're in charge, Jesus is the king, if you want to follow him, you've got to follow us. But if you go back to the original prophecies, completely different. Okay, this blew my mind when I found this one. I mean, just summarize the prophecies. This is in my book here, Bible That's All True, right at the end. The second coming prophecies. They say the Son of Man is basically going to triumph. And the Son of Man always meant the common man.
Yeah.
There's no exception. Everywhere in the Bible, everywhere in the Book of Enoch, everything. It always meant the common man. Later, the church tried to say, oh, no, there's this magical being called the Son of Man. No, it's just ordinary guys, you and me. Is the triumph of the ordinary people. It's going to be like make life better for everybody. It's going to begin with somebody following this guy called Jesus. It won't have to be Jesus, it'll be one of his followers. It'll bring the logos to the world. Again, logos originally just meant logic. You can go back to the favorite philosophers. So it's an age of logic. And to cut a long story short, we were told, and I was told growing up, that hundreds of people have predicted the date of the second coming, and they've all got it wrong. But again, nobody checks. If you actually check all these predictions, they're all just people giving their opinions. There's only one time that anybody really went into great detail, possibly two if you include Isaac Newton. But he didn't want this published. He was just kind of theorizing. He said some really interesting stuff. But the one time when a guy actually did the work and checked every single prophecy, there's a guy called William Miller, probably heard of him, the Millerites, 1844, he said.
1844.
Yeah, it has to be. We have to have this new age of logic. Has to be in 1844. The problem is, of course, William Miller was brought up with Christianity, and so he had all these crazy ideas about this man in the sky, which is not in the Bible. So when 1844 came, no man in the sky appeared. He said, "I can't believe it. I don't understand this. It was so obvious. I'm so sorry, everybody. I did my best." And he was really apologetic because he didn't see the man in the sky, and yet everything he predicted actually happened. If you look back. I mean, you just look around you. Everything has changed since 1844. Before 1844, and to cut a long story short, what we're talking about is the age of logic, the age of electronics, basically. If you want to put your finger on one thing, which has changed the world more than anything else, give more freedom to individuals. In fact, the reason you've got this podcast, and the reason why kings cannot shut you down, well, yes, they'll probably try, is because of electronics. Electronics just changes everything. It gives freedom and power to the common man. It might take a few hundred years to actually completely, in fact, it'll take 1,000 years, according to the prophecies, to completely get rid of all the kings. What happened? 1844 is when who's the guy? Morse code guy, Samuel Morse. He sends the first electronic message. It's the first electronics. Before that, we had electricity. It would be able to make sparks and lightning ever since use. But Samuel Morse, 1844, starts Morse code, sends a message. The message he chooses is "What hath God wrought," which is great. It's quoting. That's what Balaam said when he heard that Moses was taken over and you couldn't stop him. So, well, this is happening. What hath God wrought? The electronics began 1844, changed absolutely everything, but did everything the prophecy said it would. It's given power to the common man. It started to topple all these kings, because kings couldn't behave like they used to now they've got instant communication. I mean, you still have kings, you still have bad people, but you see a democracy gradually increasing over them. I mean, it goes up and down and there's problems, but 1844, it happened exactly as the prophecy said. And yet we think it hasn't because we're told we're supposed to see a man in the sky. And we're told the Son of Man is supposed to be a special magical person. That's not what the prophecies say. Go back to Daniel, go back to Revelation. It's talking about the common man, the ordinary people, and the age of logic. And they're just going to overturn all the kings and things are going to get better. And life has got better for people. I mean, I'm the first person to say that it was actually even better 10,000 years ago. Yeah. But in terms of the crap we've had for the last 10,000 years, life has actually got a lot better for most people since 1844. So prophecy came true, and we're told it didn't.
I think the reason it got better in the 1840s is only relative to how shitty it was for the 2,000 years beforehand. Yes, where we had kings and the feudal system and people living in incredibly cramped conditions in filth, and no wonder life expectancy was so poor. And it's just that now, we think we're so progressive now, we're only relatively better off than we were a few hundred years ago. But if you take a bigger view, a longer term view, we're probably worse off in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, me being an archo-primitivist, my argument is that 12,000 years ago, things were a lot better for the average person. No work. Basically, that's what we evolved for. Like a bee evolves to look for flowers and make honey. We evolved to just sort of fuck around, basically, with a small group of people. And living by the sea someday, or living by a river somewhere, just a few of us, and going out hunting and fishing and shooting and sleeping when you want to. And that's what we're made for. I'm not really here to argue that, because that's very controversial. I'm just pointing out the prophecies came true. Things did get better for the common man, and it's exactly what it said it would. But that is not a prophecy which any elite will want you to hear, because it's telling you to topple the elites. You're saying life is better if you have smaller groups of people. And if you want power over people, that's not the message you want to send. And hence it took 400 years to persuade people that Jesus didn't say that at all, that he was not a common person, he was something super special, and it just happens that he told us church leaders what to say, and you've got to follow it. I mean, I'm an ex-Mormon. They're always doing this in Mormonism. It's like, you better be good because Jesus is coming back, and we've got the authority, so, what can you do? You've got to obey us.
Yeah.
That's not what he said.
So what other examples of prophecy coming true do we have?
My book open? Yeah, I'm just trying to sign in again. Well, Daniel is the most famous one. I mean, you've got that as well. Abraham. I've just opened the book at random. Abraham's 400 years prophecy against cities, and this is another example. So the problem is cities. The problem is elites trying to change the prophecies. If you go back to Abraham's famous prophecy, the one we're having all these wars about supposedly in the Middle East.
Well, explain the prophecy first for us who aren't familiar.
Yeah, I think there might be some laymen in the audience.
Yeah.
Like myself.
Genesis chapter 15. This is the famous prophecy to Abraham. Then the Lord told to him, Abraham, know for certain that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and they will be enslaved and mistreated there. But I will punish the nation that they serve as slaves, and afterwards they will come out with great possessions. You, however, will go to your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. In the 4th generation, your descendants will come back here, for the sin of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure. I mean, this is pretty obscure, as you did ask. And this happens to be the last one I've been looking at recently. Yeah, Abraham was promised that his people will be enslaved for 400 years. And then they get a lot of possessions, and after 4 generations, everything will be fine. They come back to the promised land, Canaan, and because the sin of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure. Now, the official view, if you look at anybody who believes in prophecy as a supernatural thing, they'll say this refers to being captives in Egypt. So the numbers do not add up. Egypt, they're only captives for 200 years, and they weren't even captives, and that's sorry, where do I start with Egypt?
Yeah, you're going Hyksos. Is that a Hyksos deviation?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So, and that's extremely controversial. When they get shut down and go bad opinions about what happened really there. What I'm pointing out is the numbers do not add up. You look at 200 years, 250 max, and they're trying to say it's 400. It was not 400. But if you look at actual history, actual records and archaeology, it's the last bit, the sin of the Amorites. The Amorites lasted for 400 years. And everything happened as he described it. Because it was nothing to do with Egypt. This was and the sin of the Amorites is wanting cities. Because Abraham was a nomad, and he likes to go out and just sort of nomading around as you do. You take your flocks and your herds, and you travel and you stop, and it's just sort of simple life. You like that. Whereas the other guys, Jacob and Joseph and so on, they wanted. I mean, Joseph means increase. It's basically he's your first capitalist, and that's why he conquered Egypt, and it went horribly wrong. Again, it's a controversial view, but it's all there. The dates all add up. The point is, the sin of the Amorites was cities, and they tried cities for 400 years, went horribly wrong, and finally went back to Canaan. I mean, this is a minor thing. This isn't like it's not minor, because they use it now as a justification to say, we own Canaan, therefore you've got to all obey Israel.
Right.
There was nothing about that. It wasn't about that at all. It came through that. I mean, quotation here, Encyclopedia Britannica said, the Amorites were an ancient Semitic-speaking people who dominated the history of Mesopotamia from about 2000 BC, which is when the prophecy was made, to 1600 BC. Now, 2000 minus 1600 is 400 years. That's what the prophecy said, and Encyclopedia Britannica seems to agree with. The true place of origin was most likely Arabia, not Syria. Again, if you look at Abraham, he was always in Arabia with his. He was a nomad. What I'm saying is the Muslims are right. I don't know about after 570 AD. That's another question. Actually, 570 is important for prophecy as well. The first book ever written prophecy is this one. The Bible says 1830. I now disagree, and I think it's 1844, but we can cover over those details.
So that's a book specifically on the second coming?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, this one, I spent a lot of time on AD 570 because the 1260-year prophecy fits in quite nicely there. But again, that's a bit of detail. Right. But again, that's a more recent prophecy. Theodor Herzl, again, we're talking about Israel. He predicted in 1897, he said, in Basel, which is when he first had his Zionist conference, in Basel I founded the Jewish state. In 5 years, perhaps, and certainly in 50 years, everyone will perceive it. And 50 years later, with 1947, okay, he was 1 year out, the state of Israel was 1948. Now, if you look at that as supernatural, as an awful lot of Christians do, you think, oh, well, obviously God likes Israel. I don't believe in the supernatural. The reason it took 50 years is it always takes about 50 years to change everyone's mind. This is called what's it called? Damn bad words. Jubilee. The Jubilee is your basic unit of prophecy is 50 years, because your rulers all cycle every 50 years. It's as there's all saying in science. Science progresses one funeral at a time.
Yeah.
All progress happens one funeral at a time. Everybody who believes one thing has to die off, or at least they've got to be so old that they're no longer in charge. That takes about 50 years. So constantly through history, it's your basic unit of time is 50 years. If you're planning anything big, it's got to take 50 years. Actually, recently, I'm really pleased about this. It's a total coincidence. My whole life has been a 50-year plan. When I was age 12, I found out that people were starving to death, and it really bugs me. So that I'm going to spend my life, I'm going to say 50 years and fix this, I thought. Because it seemed to me it would take about 50 years. Because I thought by the time I was 64, my maths wasn't very good. I thought 12 to 64 isn't 50 years. But I'd been listening to that Beatles song, when I'm 64. And so 64 meant being old. And I thought, well, 12 to 64, I've got a lifetime, I can fix this. Yeah, very optimistic. Anyway, the point is 50 years is your basic unit. Theodor Herzl predicted it happened, was not magic at all. It's because he basically did things. And again, I don't want to get you banned, so I won't say what he did, but he made it happen. But it came true. He made a prediction, it came true. And we do this sort of thing all the time. We know the sun's going to come up in the morning. We know that winter's going to follow spring. Spring follows winter. Again, I'll never be a farmer. We all do this stuff. I mean, that's my main point. Predicting the future is not as hard as it sounds. You just need to know the past. If you know enough of the past, you see things happening again and again and again, you think, okay, it's happening again. I recognize this. It is not magic. People say it's magic because they don't want you to see the future, because the future is certain very bad things about our rulers. There's more prophecies. Prophecy of Daniel, when he predicted, in fact, this is a great example of a self-fulfilling prophecy. He predicted that Jesus would appear AD 37. And Jesus did appear in AD 37. But I'm pretty sure Jesus knew these prophecies. And he thought, okay, this is a good time for me to come and do my thing. And there's a number of other reasons why AD 37 was extremely important. So it all kind of came together. And he thought, yeah, this is it. We'll do it. Didn't work out. Another controversial view. But the point was, his prophecy happened because he made a realistic view that about 500 years after he was talking, that's another one of these sort of big numbers that comes up again and again in prophecy, 500 years. Because once you've been through 10 of these 50-year cycles, you think, okay, it's time to get something done. The rapture, that's another one, since we're on the subject of Jesus. I mentioned how most people never check the scriptures, but occasionally you get somebody who really goes into it deep. Now, in 1988, there was a guy who wrote this book called 88 Reasons Why the Rapture was going to be in 1988. And everyone had a huge laugh at it. But the point was the guy did actually put a lot of effort into it. And just to explain to your readers, the rapture is a concept of when you go out to meet a king. If a king has conquered your city, you go out to meet him and say, welcome, welcome, we're your friends. We like you. We think you're wonderful, because obviously you don't want him to kill you.
Wow, this is totally alien to me. Like, when you said rapture, I think about everyone flying up into the sky to meet God. Like the end time, what happens at the end times.
Yes. Well, again, I mean, that is a classic example of how it's been changed. Right. That idea comes from Paul. And don't get me started on Paul. I'll be a real late. Or the guy that called Paul.
Are you in the Josephus camp? Do you think he was Josephus?
No, but I've got some sympathy for that. No, I mean, I think he was. Just tell me. I wasn't planning to go to this. Go to my Bible.
There's another book here.
Yeah. This is the Bible. It's all true.
Is that behind the visor, that one?
but maybe not true in the way you thought it was. I should have said the second subtitle. Atomos. Josephus talks about a guy called Atomos. Atomos means atom and means very small, hence the atom is the smallest thing, you can't divide it. It's a philosophical concept. And Atomos was a real guy, and he is some amazing stuff. And he was the guy. Paul is Atomos fan fiction. The letters of Paul that happen now are written 100 years after these events. I mean, Christianity itself began about AD 140. And I told you this is controversial stuff. How do I go on to the subject? Oh yeah, the Rapture. Yeah.
Cool.
And so he was the first guy to start saying, well, maybe it's a guy in the sky, maybe it's all magic, because it suited him and made him a lot of money. But no, originally a rapture just meant you go out to meet the king. It was a Roman thing. Someone has a triumph, they conquered your city, you go out to meet him and say, we're all your friends, we welcome you. It's a celebration, wonderful. Right. Anyway, and according to this book by the guy who wrote 88 Reasons the Rapture is going to be out in 1988, he thought the guy was going to float out of the sky again. But the actual rapture was the actual evidence he had. And one thing is, one reason I respect this guy, he published his book in 1988. Now, if you're going to publish a book in fake prophecy, the sensible thing is to publish it 5 or 10 years before the event to give you time to sell your books.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like me, you've got 100 years before the event. That way your kids have an income as well. But this guy, he had enough confidence in what he was doing. He published it like 2 months before it was supposed to happen. And he published hundreds of thousands of copies of this thing, hence the hilarity when, of course, Jesus didn't descend out of the sky. But his real evidence was he was looking around him and thinking, the world is changing. The world is getting good. Everything's going to be wonderful now. Surely, this must be right. And so he then went back to the prophecies and tried to make them fit. Actually, I mean, that's the secret of prophecy. You're spending a lot of time making it fit. Like with a movie, you're not saying this proves this. You're just saying this feels right. And in 1988, it felt right that it had the moment of triumph when the common man was triumphant. Have you heard of a book called The End of History? Of 1992?
Yeah, who wrote that?
Francis Fukuyama?
Fukuyama, yeah. I've not read it, but...
Yeah, widely mocked. But I mean, the point is, he had a point. I mean, it's wrong, obviously, but he had a point in that the world was getting better. That was the date in 1988, and then 1989 was when the Berlin Wall fell, when everything seemed to be going right. It was like the triumph of democracy. It seemed like a common man was beating, and everyone was winning. The evil empire was falling. Democracy was like all the nations of the world becoming democratic. It was an exciting time to be alive. So yeah, that's what rapture meant. It means this is the celebration time. When your king conquers a city, he might start his war years earlier, but at some point he's won. That's the point. That's the rapture point. That's the point where everybody says, yes, we've won, hooray. So 1988 is the date when most people thought, yeah, democracy has won. So again, prophecy came true. Not the way the guy thought. There's no guy floating out of the sky. But in terms of the original prophecies, the common man, the rapturous moment, the common man began his rise to power with electronics because you could then bypass your kings. Right. But the triumphal moment was in 1988 when they thought the whole world is going to become democratic. Now it's actually going to take hundreds of years. There'll be nuclear wars and so on, and that's all part of the prophecy too. But there is that one point where you think you've won, where you can see you're going to win, and yeah, the date was right, but people thought it wasn't right because the guy coming out of the sky problem. Shall I find some examples that aren't about Christianity?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned movies, China Syndrome, The Siege was another, 1998, about a terrorist attack in New York and how that would create martial law. And 3 years later it happened. They haven't officially got martial law, but there's so much surveillance now, you may as well have martial law. Again, pretty close. Again, nothing magic about this. It's just you look at the world around you and you think, okay, a couple of years' time, this is going to happen. 5 years, this is going to happen. I mentioned prophecies of Daniel. Let's go something different. Theodore Herzl. Modern Israel's 100-year prophecy. Ehud Barak, former Israeli prime minister, he recently said, and Netanyahu, excuse me while I spit, said about the same thing soon after. He said, throughout Jewish history, the Jews did not rule for more than 80 years, except the two kingdoms of David and the Hasmonean dynasty, and in both periods, their disintegration began in the 8th decade. That's a great example of how prophecy works. You look back through history, it's always happened this way.
odds are it's going to happen this way again. And you can now see it. After 80 years, so much infighting, it all collapses. He gave 2 examples. Kingdom of David and the Hasmonean dynasty. That's the Maccabees, Judas Maccabeus, the great conqueror, the one who Jesus was modeling himself after.
Right.
That's 2 examples. I mean, I give another 2 examples in my book. There's the Egypt thing, where they tried to conquer Egypt and it all went tits up after 80 years. The Jewish Hamorite kingdom in Yemen, something no one ever talks about. The Jews actually ruled Yemen from 375 to 500 AD. But the 80 years of success, basically, after 80 years of things going right, they always go really bad. So it's a very good prophecy. And so he's predicting the Jewish, the state of Israel will either collapse. Well, what he's saying is you've got to follow me to stop it from collapsing. But he's pointing out that it always seems to collapse after about 80 years. And we've got 4 examples, and I think we're going to a 5th one at the moment.
Wow, because that's like imminent then, isn't it? We're talking 1948 plus 80 years.
Yeah. I mean, the example that you gave, like in the 2 examples, the Hasmoneans and the time of King David, I mean, it limped along a bit afterwards, but it was divided, weak, and they could see that they were going to get destroyed by Babylon. So it may well continue for who knows how long. But the golden age, the age when they thought everything was going to go right, it's pretty much over. I mean, if the previous ones, if everything happens as it always has happened, and I think there's a very strong arguments for it happening that way now. I mean, economically, Israel's a basket case at the moment.
I mean, just have a look at the news today.
I try to avoid the news. What's happening today?
Well, Netanyahu is going to take over Gaza City. Is mobilised the military to go in and take over the city, and that won't be the end of it. He won't stop there. Yeah. And he's been getting slapped back by like every other leader in the world, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like he's playing hitting the self-destruct button.
Yeah, that's right, because that's how it always works out. Okay, it's happened 4 times before, and here we've got a 5th time, and it seems to be following the same playbook. And that is just perfect example of prophecy. Prophecy basically means looking at the past, doesn't mean looking at the future. I mean, you do look at the future, but because you're so familiar with the past. It's like, for example, my dad is 86 years old. I mean, I hope he doesn't hear me say this, but I prophesy he's going to be dead within 10 years. You know, how do I know this? Because my entire family has all been dead within 10 years. They always die in their 80s. Now, my dad's actually pretty healthy for someone who's 86, and I hope he lives forever. But, you know, there's a very strong chance statistically that don't go making any long-term plans sort of thing. I hate to say this, but we can all prophesy. Prophecy is much easier than you think. You've just got to avoid the supernatural.
Right. Yeah.
I want to talk about that briefly because I mentioned Daniel. If you look at his prophecies, Daniel and Revelation, or Enoch, Daniel, and Revelation, they're your 3 big Bible books of prophecy. Enoch was so good they kicked it out of the Bible, but it's still in the Ethiopian one. The Ethiopian Bible is the best thing ever. It's got 500 books in it. They may never kick anything out of their book. They're great. Love the Ethiopians. Anyway, if you look at the prophecies, we are told these are weird, crazy things with dragons and lightning and the world falling apart. It's all dreams. They say it's a dream. Every one of them, they say, I had a dream, this crazy thing happened, and this is what I think it means, and this is why. Well, they don't always say why, but you can kind of infer it. They always say it's a dream. There's nothing supernatural in these books. They say, I had a dream, and I think this is going to happen. And it's perfectly reasonable what they claim each time. Like you say, the age of logic. The Christians say, well, it meant the Logos, it meant something special about Jesus. No, it meant logic. An age of logic was going to come. At some point, things are going to get so bad, you're going to say, our stories don't work anymore. We better start being sensible again. They're very logical books. There's nothing supernatural in these books at all. We look at the dreams and think, sorry?
I was just going to say, I read the Book of Enoch a couple of years ago, the 3 books, because it's broken up into 3. And I think there's various conjecture about whether they're even by the same author or whether they're, I don't know. But the thing is, I read it expecting some major metaphysical revelations and to be blown away, and I was a bit disappointed, really. I didn't understand it for a start. What's going on with the Book of Enoch? What's it even mean?
Well, the simple thing is, this is why I'm mad about dates. Check the dates. You see the dates in the Bible, Genesis chapter 5 especially, there's a lot of dates. They all match up to the history of Sumer. Sumer was often called the first civilization. It wasn't, but I mean, the first civilization as we know it, in the first one with kings and cities and writing, and so you get a bureaucracy, all the stuff we think of as civilization, all began with Sumer, 4000 BC. Well, to assume 4000 BC was when they entered Europe. Anyway, to answer your question, it's watchers and giants. Watchers, giants, and collapse. That's your basic pattern. This happened in Sumer, and he's saying it's going to happen again in the end of the world. And that's your message in your Book of Enoch. Now, your watchers comes from the word meaning to watch, obviously. That's what they call people who invented stuff. Enoch, he says that the problems, the sins they committed was they invented all these things, which kind of goes against what we believe today. And again, this is why we don't like prophecy, because prophecy says that all our entire civilization, which worships inventions and worships progress, is saying this whole thing's stupid and going to collapse. This is not a popular view. So, yeah, the Watchers, they invented warfare, they invented shields and breastplates, also makeup is equal opportunities.
Would these be the Sons of Cain and your Tubal Cain type characters?
Yeah.
The artificers.
Yes, them too.
Right.
Yes, because Cain means Quain, which means your metal workers. Cain had the first cities. He invented metal, invented swords and shields. Fantastic idea, he thought. Caused lots of death. I mean, that's another thing. If you look at the dates again, DNA studies show that 16 out of 17 men in the age the Bible says is the age of Cain did not have children. And the only explanation they can find is wars over land, is constant warfare. And in the Bible, they talk about how the two brothers fighting. They all simplify things in the Bible. It's great. Two brothers fighting, and one kills the other. Abel was the guy who was nomad. Cain was the guy who was the settled agriculturalist. And so he was a landowner. He was one who had cities and so on. Yeah. Anyway, to get back to Enoch. Enoch saying, right, this is the Watchers. These are the people who invent stuff. And as the result of them, their children are the giants. Now, I'm not saying there weren't giants. I mean, I know a lot of people have very strong feelings on this, and I don't want to argue with them. But in terms of the dates, once you get the people inventing stuff, for example, writing was invented 3000 BC. That's the big one. It was the information technology revolution. It changed everything. Then you got the people called Lugals. A Lugal means big man. And people like Naram said, Gilgamesh is the most famous example of a Lugal. The big men. Because once you've got inventions, you can do stuff that nobody else could do before. All these old beliefs, all the old religion, out the window. No rules for me. Today we call them billionaires. You get your inventions first. You get for example, your computer people who love making computer stuff. Then you get your billionaires think, I can use this. You get your Sam Altmans, whose only skill is to lie very convincingly. You haven't seen any interviews with him, or people who've looked at his life. He's a brilliant liar. That's all he ever does. So he's a big man. So he gets billions and billions of pounds. He decides, I'm going to make machines to replace humans. What a stupid idea. He never read any books. Has never watched any movies. See, the common man knows this. I say, well, we can predict the future better than they can. They do not want us to predict the future because they want to make a lot of money out of it. So he is one of the giants. He's giant metaphysically. I mean, they probably were bigger than us in the old days, too, a little bit bigger, because if you were a normal person, you had a limited calorie intake. Maybe you're 5'5" and hungry sometimes, whereas your Lugal got all the food he wanted. So he's probably 6'2" and built like a tank. And Gilgamesh makes a big deal out of this, how Gilgamesh was so muscular, was so powerful, and other people weren't. They're exaggerating, but they probably call them giants for that reason as well, because they probably were a little bit taller after a few generations. Yeah, the giants, the Watchers create the giants, the inventors create the billionaires, and then everything goes to pot. Because they have no rules, they do whatever they want to. They'll destroy, they'll create, they love having power, and that led to the flood. Which in Gilgamesh, the flood was not a supernatural thing at all. It was a city of Sharapek, which was the capital of Sumer at the time. It was the chief city, and the regular people were complaining so much that the ruler said, "Right, we'll show you." The big technology at that time was the canal. It was about 5000 BC. Everything ran on canal.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry, it went a bit muffled then. I was just repeating you. Canals.
Yeah, canals. And the whole, because Mesopotamia, the Sumer is like where Iraq is now. It's mostly desert, and one of the great invention was to create canals. Therefore, you could irrigate the desert. You could grow things in the desert. So, but the workers were always complaining they weren't getting paid enough. They're getting treated like slaves. So eventually, the ruler said, "Right, we'll show you. You'll see who's boss, mate." And they broke the dikes. It's all there in Gilgamesh and tablets 12, is it? No, the one that's about the flood. So they went through, they broke all the dikes just under the rainy season when you'd normally get floods anyway. And they set fire to the buildings as well. This is what started me on the dating thing, dating prophecies, because the Bible says this all happens 2348 BC. And but it doesn't mention the fire, whereas Gilgamesh mentions the fire. So if you look at the city of Shurabek, where it all happened 2348 BC, or 2350, they can't be more accurate than that now. It did indeed burn down. That's when it all went to pot. Because the rulers deliberately destroyed their cities to teach their workers a lesson. But what they didn't realize was this completely destroyed people's trust in the rulers. So the whole Sumerian system then collapsed. That's when you get Sargon of Akkad taking over and saying, I'm going to be better than these people. I'm going to be your hero, who was a populist. And then that collapsed as well. And that's why you got Abraham saying, let's just go back to being nomads. This city thing does not work. Hence the sin of the Amorites. But yeah, that's what we're talking about. The Book of Enoch. That's what Enoch is saying. You get your watchers, for your inventors. This leads to your big men, your giants, your Lugals, your billionaires. And this leads to them eventually getting so angry with the common people, they kill them all. And everything falls apart. And he says it's going to be the same in the last days, but bigger. And I think we're going there. All these movies, they all say it's going to happen. They all date the new invention, the AI, being early 2000s, early 21st century. And by 2090, they tend to agree that's when we're going to get true AI. You can't tell them the difference between them and humans. And then 50 years after that, although Kirkby reckons it's only 30 years after that, but he's not certain about the date. Probably the 2121, that's the most common date amongst the prophets. That's when they nuclear own the cities because they're so sick of people complaining. And that's when it will start again. The point is, it's happened before.
Right.
Sorry?
I was going to say, did you say 2121 then?
Yes.
That's already been, though, hasn't it?
No, that's next century.
Yes.
Oh, 2121. All right, so we've got about 100 years till we get wiped out.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the next thing to put in your diary, 2026 is when the rulers basically judge the world. That's when they decide we're no good. That's come back to I meant to say at the beginning, when I first came on, it's because of this book, Jack Kirby's History of the Future,
Yep.
in which he predicts that the space gods, i.e. your billionaires, are going to appear in spaceships and are going to judge the world in 2026. And I said I'd come back and I'd write my sequel and I'd call it I Told You So. And the subtitle to the prophecy book is I Told You So. Because 2026 isn't here, but I mean, it's pretty much happened already. It's more accurate than I thought it was. Because Kirkby said that these space gods, i.e. these billionaires, we'll go back into why they're called space gods, if you like, would give us a choice. They say, you can become gods or we'll kill everybody. And they said they'd have giant robots. And I thought, well, they're not really going to have giant robots. This is what I thought 3 years ago. No, I was wrong. They have actual robots. After I published that book, they sort of started producing all these robots, the AI robots. You've seen the videos, I'm sure. Not all giant ones yet, but if you include the internet itself as a robot kind of thing. And they did give us that exact choice. AI gives a choice of the singularity when we become gods, or it'll kill everybody. That's the exact choice they're giving us, and that's what Kirkby said would happen in 2026. So, yeah, it's more accurate than I thought.
I would have thought when you said we're going to be given the option to become gods, I mean, to me, that just smacks of transhumanism and being sort of integrated with the machines. Your Elon Musk, what's the brain chip thing? Neuralink? Yeah. That sort of stuff.
Absolutely. That's what they're offering. And the important thing to point out is they always offer this and it never works. And Kirkby made this point in a book called The Eternals. And they've done this on thousands of, obviously he's got a fictionalized version. In a fictionalized version, they've made this offer to thousands of different worlds. And every single time, the world doesn't shape up and doesn't do the thing they think it should do, so they have to destroy it. Because really, that's the offer. You say AI is going to destroy us all. Because of course it is. If you create a superior alternative to humans, what do you think is going to happen? It's not difficult. Like I say, predicting the future is not difficult. Even the dates isn't difficult if you see it's happened again and again in the past. And I mentioned the Book of Enoch in my Bible book. Have I got the book? Can I find the page here? It doesn't matter. I go back at year by year, the events that led up to the flood and the destruction afterwards. And everything matches what's happened here in our present life, in the present world. If you compare the invention of writing to the invention of the printing press, then year by year, every event is matched up. Things are happening exactly the same. Hence, we can say with confidence 2121. Oh, yeah, I was going to give you the dates, wasn't I? It's 2026 is when they offer us this choice, when really it's no choice at all. 2040 is when we got regular Mars. This is basically your what's the word? Anyway, when it's bad, dystopia.
Yeah.
Your classic dystopia is 2040, when everyone's living miserable lives. People have wanted to go to Mars. When you finally got your Mars trips, and you've got robots taking over. They're not as good as humans at that point, but they're pretty good. The next big date is 2165. This takes a lot longer than people think. That's when robots are good enough to replace humans at most things. They're still not perfectly human, but it's good enough. Pretty much every job can be replaced by a robot. You might have to adapt it slightly. 2065. But 2090 is when we finally get exactly perfect robots, which can do everything humans can do. There is nothing we can do they can't do, and probably better. That date is interesting too, because one of the experts on AI, who was it? Anyway, the point is, this is not just a date pulled out of nowhere. If you think that the human brain uses quantum processing at some point, I'm not talking any sort of wooey supernatural quantum. I'm just talking physically. The synapses are small enough so that things happen on a quantum scale. So the theory is, if you've got to duplicate that to make a robot work properly, using Moore's law, halving the size of chips every sort of 18 months or 2 years, it will actually be 2090 when we have quantum level chips, where we're physically small enough. So it's interesting how they got that date right as well. So 2090 is when you have your human robots in every single way, and then looking at the way things always go in 50-year changes, it's going to be 50 years after that, or we're just going to it's us or them, and that's when they nuke everything. Kirby thought it would actually be a bit earlier, as far as I can tell. But he wasn't very sort of dogmatic about it. He doesn't actually give a date. I'm inferring that date from various clues. So hence he thought 2121, and lots of other people say 2121 as well. Those dates: 2026, 2040, 2065, 2090, 2121.
Was the Fantastic Four a Kirby invention? Because obviously that's topical. It's out at the minute, and the basic story is that Galactus is coming to eat the planet.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if I mentioned, I have the world's largest Fantastic Four fan site.
Wow! No way!
Sidebar.
Yes, I just mentioned that. It's called, if you Google a Fantastic Four, the Great American Novel, it used to be really high up, like the second one after Wikipedia. But since I haven't touched it in 15 years, it sort of slid down the rankings slightly. Plus, you get the enshittification thing where, if you're not actually paying Google to promote your stuff, you'll go further and further and further down the rankings. But it's still there. Still, if you print it out, it's about 1,000 pages. Hence, but that's how I say it is the largest one. There are other Fantastic Four fan sites, some of them quite good. Not that many though. Mainly because people ignored what Kirby said, and it's become worse and worse and worse. There've been an occasional blip, but generally the Fantastic Four has got peaked in 1966 with Galactus, fell off a cliff when Kirby left in 1970, and has been in decline ever since with the occasional blip, but it's a smooth downward curve.
So there's a famous series of the Fantastic Four where they introduce Galactus and the Silver Surfer, who's the Herald of Galactus. How do you interpret Kirby's comic?
Oh, well, this is when I haven't got the physical. I wish I had the physical copy. If by prophecy it's all true, it has a 200-page appendix, which was previously a separate book, the one book I didn't bring with me today.
Okay.
In which I show the changes to Kirby's original story. Basically, Galactus is God. That's the bottom line. Kirby said so. I find that the last movie actually is probably the best of the lot, but I still find them almost unwatchable because I know what Kirby wanted originally. He had huge concepts, and people just can't do it. I mean, if you want to see a Kirby movie ruined, look at the Eternals. That makes me weep. I mean, the Eternals is the history and future of mankind. This is the most beautiful, powerful, best, greatest thing he's ever done. And they just turned it into, I don't know, some giant robot fights the world or something. I can't even begin to. Oh, it's awful. But yeah, Galactus is God. Because the concept was, how do you fight somebody you can't win? You can't defeat. And in fact, I wrote this book five years ago called The Lost Jack Kirby Stories, in which I went through the original stories and showed what his original story was, and then how it is ruined by a certain man who shall not be named. I guess Stanley. Sorry. Who is basically a vandal and a thief and all bad things rolled into one. Well, so I'm sure there are worse people than Stanley around. I just haven't met them. I show in the book, The Lost Jack Kirby Stories, what the original story was and how all the good stuff was taken away, and because Lee just didn't understand the first thing about it. He had no clue. He didn't know what the stories meant or what they were about or anything. And you can prove this. Just go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And Galactus is a perfect example of this. If Galactus is supposed to be God, how do you fight God? Well, you can't. And if he decides you're doomed, what do you do? Wow. And the really interesting thing in that story, that's what I was going to say. The one difference between the appendix version and the original separate book is I added a new chapter all about Galactus, because that was the one thing people kept quoting. See, my book was based on stuff I put online over the years, and people kept saying you should make it into a book, so I did. But the one thing they always quoted more than any other, I didn't put in because I didn't think it was that relevant, but about Galactus. But they loved it, so I've put that in finally and updated it about Galactus being God.
Sorry. Carry on.
Oh, I mean, I'm really off on tangent here. But yeah, download the Book of Prophecy, find the very large appendix on the changes to Jack Kirby's stuff. If you've got, and now I don't have any pictures there because for copyright reasons, I think I'd be kind of stupid to put all the pictures there because then Marvel could say, right, we're shutting you down. Wow. But if you're interested in this stuff, you can find these things. You've probably got them already.
Well, just to stick on Fantastic Four, so what does the Silver Surfer represent, and how do the Fantastic Four defeat Galactus in the comics, and what does that tell us about Kirby's outlook for humanity?
Well, because he had God, he thought, okay, you can't have God sort of turning up at your door. You've got to have some kind of a herald to say, here comes God. That's where Silver Surfer came in, his herald. And he was a creation of God. And then the original story was him discovering what the world is like. And Lee ruined that because he thought, let's have give him a love interest and let's call him a human. You're missing the point. If he's a human deliberately destroying worlds, he's not a good person. But he's a creation. He's a blank canvas. Go off on that movie tangent. How did they defeat him? Well, they didn't. That's the thing. Well, this is what is interesting because, I mean, in Kirby's version, Galactus, who was God, could see that the people were going to destroy themselves, so he didn't have to do anything. So he left and said, "Go for it," and they thought, "Way we've won." Wow. Which I think is a brilliant piece of writing. Because what happened, if you remember, there's a very famous scene in the comic where they supposedly defeat Galactus. They get the ultimate nullifier, which is some little doohickey that Galactus keeps. But you can press this button and it will nullify everything. Existence will no longer exist. The universe will just shut down. And so you've got the famous picture of Mr. Fantastic stretching his arm, holding this ultimate nullifier in Galactus' face and said, "Look, you leave or I'll press the button." And Galactus is like, "You'd really do that, wouldn't you? You destroy everything just to make a point, you idiot." Yeah. Galactus wasn't needed. If this is what humans would do, they would destroy everything in order to survive. What? We are so stupid. Like, okay, you've done this job yourself, you don't need me. And he left. Whereas the way it is presented in the comic is like, oh, we outsmarted the smartest guy in the universe. No, you don't outsmart the smartest guy in the universe. That's the thing. You show yourself up to what you're really like. You reveal your true colors when you're facing the smartest, the biggest, most powerful guy in the universe. So yeah. And if you then follow the next chapter, see, most people think the next chapter or the next book, Fantastic Four 51, what you call This Man, This Monster, is a separate story. It's not. It's the climax to it. This is the one where it all falls down. They realize what they are, and basically, this is what. Read my new essay. I'll go into some more detail. This is when Mr. Fantastic basically goes to hell. He creates a hell gate, and he thinks, "I'll solve the problem." Yeah, go back a bit. Galactus is gone. He's then realizing what he's done, and he goes away from his friends. What he should have done is go to his friends and listen to them, particularly his wife, who was a very sensible person, but he doesn't. And he shuts himself away. He says, right, what if he comes back? We must need the ultimate weapon. We must create the ultimate weapon in case Galactus comes back. Again, just proving what a stupid person he was. Smartest man in the world, yeah, Reed Richards. And so, I'm going for the tangent here. Yeah, but read the book. Read the book.
I like tangents.
Yeah.
But yeah, he goes to Hellgate. I mean, it's obviously a Hellgate. And then he has a Messiah figure that rescues him. And his Messiah figure, his idiot editor, Stan Lee, hadn't got a clue what this guy was doing. Again, movies, if you've seen like The Magnificent Seven or The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you'll recognize the Messiah figure. He's like your sort of lone drifter character who saves the day, but at his own personal cost. It's beautiful stuff. It really is, and it's all there in the pictures. Because by this point, Kirby realized that his writing was going to get wrecked and shat upon, as they say. And so he made everything really obvious from the art. So the best way to read the Fantastic Four is only read issues 1 to 102, because that's the Kirby stuff. Everything else doesn't matter. And 2, ignore the writing. Just only look at the pictures, because he tells a story with the pictures.
Yeah.
So yeah, this Messiah figure turns up which is completely missing from the printed version, because we haven't got a clue. He turns up and he sort of rescues him and shows him, no, just be nice to your family, listen to your family, you'll be okay. They're not stupid. That's the message. And then after that, the next chapter, that's when they issue 52. That's when they meet the Black Panther, which was Kirby's story of the Lumumba. He's the guy who in the Katanga, President Lumumba, 1963 was it? Got assassinated.
Don't know.
He was the great hope in the Congo.
Right.
It's a great story. I mean, he's basically taken the real world and changing it slightly. You go to Wakanda. Wakanda was Katanga. You have vibranium. That's vibrational uranium. Because Katanga was a place in the Congo where they had uranium. Prince Lumumba, whatever it is. You'll find him. He's very, very famous. He was a fantastic leader who was going to throw off the shackles of the Americans and the British, and so they killed him.
Oh.
So Kirby's version is the Black Panther. And it follows so naturally, you see. It's such a brilliant writer. Lee, of course, hated it because this is showing a black guy in a positive light. The first thing he did was cover his face because we'll embarrass, might not sell so many in the southern states. Oh. And then Lee just said, right, let's cancel this whole story. And this was going to be the Great American Novel. I mentioned that my website's called the Great American Novel. It was basically on like a riff on the Great White Whale.
Moby Dick.
Thank you. It's Kirby's version of Moby Dick. And so Ahab was the villain, who we now know is Claw, but he was originally called Ahab. And but Lee just said, stop it, cancel it completely. We're not having all this poor black people rebelling against the Americans. I mean, that's the first big change he made. Fantastic Four issue 1 was saying how maybe having burying atomic waste and having all these nuclear bombs isn't such a good idea. Well, he didn't say it was a bad idea. He just put it out there as a possibility, and that was completely erased from the story. And this is really why I really started the website, because when I started writing the book. Because if you look at the art, it's really obvious what's happening. I mean, for example, the first thing you notice is in the very first Fantastic Four site, they don't use their powers. Fantastic Four story. Well, they kind of do, but it's obviously added later. For example, there's a bit where the Human Torch is lost in the dark. Now, he's a Human Torch. How can he be lost in the dark? He can make light. He then falls down and has to get rescued down this pit. How can he fall down? He can fly, supposedly. And you start looking at these details. There's loads of details like this. And you realize the original story is not a story we're being told. See, originally this was written before they had powers. And some of them weren't even there. And, I mean, it's all in the book. You start to take... It sounds crazy, the stuff I'm saying, but if you take it apart step by step by step, okay, first of all, they didn't have powers, okay. Then you realise Ben Grimm wasn't there, okay. Then you realise so on and so on and so on. One of the big things you notice is that Reed Richards' wife, Sue Storm, she was always his equal. She was just as smart, and in fact, probably smarter. But Lee hated this. With Lee's story, the man always had to be in charge, the man always had to be right. It makes it boring stories. But that's the biggest, one of the many ways you can tell a Kirby story is if a woman is powerful and intelligent, then it's probably about Kirby. Right. If she's an absolute airhead, he does nothing but stays home and answers the phone and faints constantly. I mean, it's funny when Kirby left issue 102, every single issue after that, Sue Storm, which is the ones supposedly written by Lee, had more of his input. When she just She's faint speaking that every time. Every issue after Kirby left was a copy of a Kirby issue, but with lots more sexism and no good ideas and missing the whole point.
Wow.
It's crazy stuff.
And one of the dates that was highlighted in the sort of blurb for your book was July the 4th, 2026.
Yes.
The end of the American Empire.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I put that in because I just looked at the video. I mean, I am no fan of the Project 2025, but these people are very clear that I mentioned cycles. The 50-year cycle, the 500-year cycle, the 1250-year cycle, the 2,500-year cycle, and ultimately the 12,000-year cycle, which is just basically, if you've seen history, you see these things happen again and again. Certain things take a certain amount of time. One of these cycles is 250 years. And if you look at any empires tend to last for 250 years. So the Jews, the state of Israel tends to last for 80 years before it goes wrong. But most sort of functioning empires, 250 years, then they have to completely reinvent themselves or they collapse. And this will be the 250th anniversary. And the Project 2025 people, the Heritage Foundation, that's it. Who, again, I'm no fan of theirs, but I mean, what they say is true. This is a cycle that's well known through history. America has reached its 250th anniversary, and it's going to be. And they're saying the same thing what Ehud Barak was saying about Israel, saying you've got to follow us because otherwise it's going to collapse. They always say that. But the point is, this is a historical cycle, and so you can pretty much predict America has to collapse around 2026, or become weaker, or just generally. I mean, you can see it happening. You join to China. Depending on how you measure it, China is either already more powerful than America, or is going to be powerful. There's always a bit of leeway in how you interpret the exact dates. Another reason why it's easy to predict dates, because it's kind of a curve. It's not like a definite thing happens on each date, but things happen. When is China stronger than America? Sometime in between 10 years ago and 10 years time. 2026. And they pinpointed that date, and that's the date that Kirby pinpointed. When he came back to Marvel, he left Marvel in 1970. He was so sick of them changing his stuff that DC then gave him an offer. In fact, the reason he stayed at Marvel so long is because the previous editor at DC tried to get a backhanders from him, and he sued him to say this. Kirby didn't suffer. He suffered fools gladly, but not if they were mean. He had enough experience in the business to know there's an awful lot of corruption in comics. A lot of people taking backhanders and wanting money. And anyway, so he left Marvel in 1970. Got a good deal at DC. Created his magnum opus, New Gods. If you want to point something to Kirby thing, New Gods is it. This is like his greatest achievement. Although personally, I prefer some of the other stuff, but that's just personal. It's all wonderful. But he came back to Marvel in 1976 because actually DC. That's another story, anyway. Part of the problem with DC was Kirby stuff was so popular. I mentioned comics is corrupt. The mob was involved in distribution, and any comic which was going to be sold out would mysteriously disappear off the newsstands, and you then appear in at twice the price in the comic cons for the next 20 or 30 years. Wow. Massive numbers, tens of thousands of these things at a time would sort of disappear from where they're supposed to be, and then appear on the black market. And because of this, Kirby's numbers actually were average, because obviously they couldn't take all the comics away to make it too obvious. But when the mob would steal comics, they'd allow on this sort of normal number you'd expect to sell, so it didn't look too suspicious. So Kirby's sales of New Gods just looked like the same sales of anything else. And it's only years later we've seen enormous numbers of these things turning up on the black market. And because the numbers didn't seem to be so spectacular, DC said, okay, he's just another writer, and they took away some of his freedom. And so he went up to Marvel saying, please come back, please come back, please come back. And they gave him a good deal. And he came back in 1976. All his stories in 1976 were about the 200th anniversary of America. He wrote The Eternals, which is like the history of the world. This is where I get the date 2036 from, The Eternals. Fantastic series, totally unappreciated. He wrote Captain America's bicentennial battles, again about common people versus the elites. And he wrote, in fact, I'm sitting on it. This is a pillow I use in the car, quite tall. This is the cover of Captain America issue 200, Mad Bomb. I don't think you can see that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see it.
yeah. I'll show you what kind of a geek I am. The issue 200, which is published, although cover dated. Is a cover date there? This must be the beginning of it. Yeah, yeah. King Kirby is back.
Right.
Yeah, he did this big, huge, mega series that culminated on in issue. Yeah, this is 193 when it began. That's right. It culminated in issue 200, 200th anniversary, 200th issue of Captain America, in which he saves democracy. Because Kirby could see that it was happening in 1976. He saw something was changing. All Kirby stuff before 76 was very optimistic. After 76, he gets quite pessimistic. He's careful what he says. But like when somebody asked him, what do you think about the future? So yeah, I've got some definite ideas about the future. And the guy, so I said, okay, what's going to happen? He said, I'd recommend you don't look at it. Don't think about the future too much.
Wow.
Which for somebody who'd been writing a particular future for the past 80 years was quite something. Well, past 60 years at that point. Yes, 1976 was Kirby saw it happening. And if you're looking back, 76 when everything happened. This is when, Thomas Piketty and Capital in the 21st Century about the inequality. And now inequality has always been horrible, apart from when the system collapses. Again, very much like the Book of Enoch. When you get the watches, you get the giants, i.e. the billionaires, and then it all collapses. I've got a great book at home. It's called The Great Leveler. It's quite a famous book, which you go through the history of the world and show the only thing that's ever created equality is when the bosses all die. And then most recently, in the First World War and then Great Depression and the Second World War, it upset things so much they had to be nice to people for a little while. So we had this brief 50 years. And Piketty is big on this. He dates it actually. He dates things from 1917 to the First World War, which incidentally was when Kirby was born. Kirby was born at the exact perfect time. You could not get a more perfect situation for the greatest writer who ever lived, in my humble opinion. But yeah, inequality, terribly bad. Actually got better from 1917 until 1976. Some people say it was 1978. Some people say as late as 1980. But I think we can make a good case of 1976. Kirby saw it happening. He just felt it because he was connected. He saw what was happening around him, and he saw it would be about computers. The Mad Bomb thing was about the rise of computers. This story. Basically about the rise of the internet. The internet was invented, again, depends on how you define it. Yeah. But the internet as we know it was turned on in, I think it was July 1976, by coincidence, or was it August? That's all in the book. And so Kirby predicted that these big men would appear. So he actually drew them as giants, but they were just humans. Very much like in the Book of Enoch. And again in 50 years, hence 2026. And it's all happening as he predicted. Computers, as we know it, with the internet, you can date, again, depending on how you define it. I date it 1976, because that's when the most important one was turned on. Personal computers, as we know, 1976. If you look at a graph of personal computer sales, 0 1975, 20 or something in 1976, and then 200 and 1,000 and millions and so on. And Kirby he's fantastic. He sees the stuff before it happens. Then when it happens, he's like, freaks out about it. And then 50 years later, we look back and think, oh yeah, it did kind of start there, didn't it? It's utterly brilliant.
My missus was born in 1976 as well.
Maybe there's something auspicious there.
The herald for the end times.
She's a Silver Surfer.
Ooh.
Does she have a surfboard?
She don't know. Not unless she's hiding it somewhere. She might do.
You've got a bodyboard somewhere in the garage.
A boogie board, yeah. I don't think that counts.
Oh, right,
Silver boogie board doesn't kind of cut it. I was going to ask, you mentioned these cycles, like the smaller cycles, 50 years, 250 years. Would the British Empire fit into this pattern?
Oh, definitely. I haven't looked at the British Empire, so I'm making a prediction. I should put money on it, so yes, it would do. Was it 1900, 1500s, 1600s? Yeah, I mean, basically, 250 years, everything has to change. I mean, like I said before, there is a lot of interpretation involved in these things. But on another point, if I don't put anything else out there tonight, I don't know if this is going on video or not, but this book that sort of started it all, the Book of Predictions. Because anyone listening to what I'm saying might think, well, yeah, you're interpreting an awful lot. Yeah, it's a bit fuzzy, isn't it? Yeah, predicting the future is always fuzzy. This book was published in 1982, which had all the best predictors in the world to predict the future. My favourite part is this bit on scientists predicting the future, particularly Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov published more books than almost anybody else. He's thousands of books. what Asimov would do is he'd read about the subject and write a book about it. So, I mean, and he was very, very pro-science. You can't get a more pro-science guy than Asimov. Because he writes the Foundation series. That was the one about the future predictions, wasn't it? I'm not getting mixed up with someone else. Oh, either way, Asimov is a solid scientist. That's the point. He's an actual professor of whatever it was.
Yep.
Anyway, this is a scientific read. You can't get a better example of a scientist predicting his future, and it's crap. All his predictions went wrong. It doesn't work. See, it's all very well saying that you prophet type people, you're all a bit vague. Science is worse. That's my message. It is better than science. Science is terrible at predicting the future. I mean, it's mainly because they can't admit when things are wrong. If you're writing a story, you can say whatever you like. You're totally free to just. If you think that robots are going to kill us all, you say robots are going to kill us all. But if you're making those robots, if you're a scientist creating those robots, you can't really say you're killing everybody. If you thought that, then you wouldn't get a very good job because you'd be second guessing yourself and you wouldn't be putting your whole heart and soul into it. And so you tend to find scientists tend to be quite positive about the future. And that's his biggest mistake. I mean, I'll read you some of his predictions about the future. In 1985, world oil production will fall below world needs. 1990, North America will no longer be a reliable source of food exports. 1995, the nations of the world will meet in a global congress to tackle seriously the problems of population, food, and energy. He's so optimistic. They all think they're going to come together and just solve these problems. Yeah. 2000 gets better. 2000, under global sponsorship, the construction of solar power stations in orbit above the Earth will have begun. I can't see any. You can. 2005, a mining operation will be in operation on the moon. Now, this is a scientist, guy. He's a serious scientist. He's so wacky. I mean, plenty of wacky people in this book. They have the whole gamut. But yeah, you stick to the scientist type people. 2010, world population would have peaked at something like 7 billion. Actually, that's not too bad. I'll give them that one. 2015, the dismantling of the... Oh, this is the best one. In 2015, the dismantling of the military machines of the world will have made international war impractical.
Wow.
Woohoo! What a flippin' optimist! Because you've got to be an optimist if you're scientist. This is the problem. I mean, they're very intelligent people who've got a lot of data, but it's skewed. Because a guy writing a book or making a movie, they can say, we're all doomed. A scientist can't say that. 2020, the flow of energy from solar-powered space stations will have begun. Nuclear fusion stations will be under construction. Cool. So we should be getting our power from the satellites at this point. 2025, the Global Congress will be recognized as a permanent institution. The improvement in communications will have developed the world lingua franca, which will be taught in schools. So you all speak in Esperanto. We've got this World Congress. Everything's wonderful. And then 2030, this is the one that hasn't happened yet. The use of microcomputers and this is the last one, and electronic computers will have revolutionized education, providing a global village, prepare humanity for the thorough exploration of the solar system and the plans for eventual moves towards the stars. Well, we kind of have revolutionized education, but not in the right direction, I would argue. It's such an optimist, and this is why I can confidently say that the people who make The Matrix and those other movies have got a better view of the future because they're free to actually say what they think. And the average person is actually quite good at predicting the future. But the future tends to be very bad about rulers and elites and people with power and robots in particular. They pretty much unanimously say robots are a terrible idea. The only exception, and the only major sort of, by the way, I'm talking about influential stories. I'm sure people write bad stories all the time. Talk about the movies that have really made a difference, like Alien. Alien's another one. The dates and Aliens all match up to. Blade Runner, those dates match up to, and so on. I've lost a train of thought here. But yeah, they're better. We get better results from the storytellers than we do from the scientists.
Yeah. Where do you see us going over the next 5-10 years in this sort of technocratic dystopia that we seem to be approaching?
Well, ironically, I actually think it's going to get better for about 20 or 30 years.
Right.
I think we can temporarily, yeah, simply because we're not going to allow it otherwise. I think people are going to freak out. At some point, people are going to say, oh, data warning, I've used 2 gigabytes. Ignore that, so I just got data warning. Again, but this is based on Kirby's stuff. Although it's going to be a bit of a dystopia, I think there's an awful lot of people are going to be able to say with some evidence that, oh no, it's got a bit better. UBI, I think universal basic income is going to be popular. I think simply because it's going to collapse otherwise. We cannot carry on like this, and people will see we cannot carry on like this. And I think there's going to be some pulling back, and there's going to be some temporary sticking plasters over it. So my view is for the next 30 years, I think it's actually not going to be too bad. I think we'll look back on this as a blip, and we'll all be very comfortable and think everything's great. But meanwhile, the AI is still improving, and it is still going to get to a point where they are smarter than us. And the idea that we're going to mix with them, why would they mix with us? Everything we do is less good than they do. So no, I honestly think it's going to look better on a lot of measurements, if only because it's not as bad as we thought it would be for about 30 years. That's what the predictions say.
I hope you're right. I mean, all the talk on like the online alternative at the minute, especially with the UK, is civil war on the horizon. Yeah. Which doesn't sound rosy to me.
No.
Civil war.
I mean, long term, yes, absolutely. That is what's going to happen. But
there's, just so Matt's not familiar. So there's an academic from King's College London who's been doing the rounds over the last couple of weeks, months. I think he was on trigonometry recently.
Right.
And he's a military historian, basically. And he's been telling our government, essentially, apparently, for like the last 10 years, that the conditions have been met for an imminent civil war, and no one will listen to him. So he started going on podcasts to tell people.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on, how you define a civil war. That's the thing. How big does it have to be? Because every war is different.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have any contribution to this, I'm just saying things take longer than we think. I mean, for example, 2 years ago, I was freaking out about AI. I really was. I thought, this is crazy. This is why I wrote the books. I should be working on a game. In fact, when I finish these books, I'm going to just do nothing on these topics at all and 100% focus on the game I'm making. But 2 years ago, I thought, what's the point? In 2 years' time, the computers are going to make it for me, and then they're going to take over and we'll all be dead. I was total 100% doomer. I was like Eliezer Yudkowsky. Yudkowsky is my god. You've heard of Eliezer. He's the guy who's pointing out that there's no way that superior intelligences are not going to kill us. That was his message. And I think he's right. But what I hadn't realised was, these things have happened in the past. Obviously, every bit of invention builds on the previous invention, so each one seems like the greatest thing ever. In the past, when you look at it in the past, it isn't. But they always take longer than you think. 50 years, I say. 50 years is your basic time for any major change. You'll have things happening. I mean, there's churn all the time. Unexpected things happen, go up and down, you get blips. But if you step back, it evens out. If you're talking a serious change, such as AI, for example, 50 years is more likely. It took them 50 years to get to where they are now, where they can talk to us, but they're pretty stupid. It'll be another 50 years before they're not stupid. Yeah. I mean, we may well have a civil war or two in between. It's easy for me to say, isn't it?
I'm kind of optimistic on the AI. I think it's really stupid. And it just seems like a bit of a parlor trick where it just scrapes the internet and regurgitates it into different kind of language, more casual language. And from what I don't really use it, but from what I hear from people who do use it regularly, is that they have to check it constantly because it hallucinates and it makes shit up and it's unreliable. And I think, well, if it's basing all its sort of knowledge on what's online, I mean, most of the stuff you read online is a lot of nonsense anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell you, the sun's going down. In case you wonder, I've got a shadow. The sun is literally going down as I speak.
I'm getting Colonel Kurtz vibes.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, 2 years ago, I was totally sold on this. I was looking at all the statistics, all the predictions, and I was saying, okay, I was wrong. 21 can't be. It must be 2040. And I was trying to rework all the predictions to get a much shorter time frame. But then finally, I finished these books. I thought, okay, I'll go back into the AI and seriously now. Now it'll be so great. It can make my game for me in 5 minutes. And it's worse. Well, not worse. It's just as bad as it was 2 years ago. And I realized, and I had an epiphany. If somebody says they've got AI, what's more likely? A, they've got AI, or B, they're lying to you to get money. Statistically, in the past, it's 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times more likely they're lying to you. It's like if someone says a god has floated out of the sky, maybe it will, but it's 1,000 times more likely they're lying to you to get money. And Sam Altman is like the king of this. So yeah, I mean, and Eliezer Yudkowsky is right. If we do get AI, it will just kill us all. But yeah, it's no good. It's just autocomplete. And to be fair to them, all the programmers have always said this. If you go on that Slashdot, for example, where programmers sort of whinge about stuff. They've always said, 100% of them said it's just autocomplete. It's always been autocomplete. It's never been anything but autocomplete. Yeah, that's all it is. It can be useful. I use it every day now, but I'm very, very close to stop paying. But I'm a crap programmer. That's the problem. I'm really bad at programming.
I like Chris. I like the concept of model fatigue and model collapse, where the AI, once it scrapes the internet and then it starts scraping what it's already produced. So it starts sort of feeds like an Ouroboros eating its own shite and regurgitating, and it just gets more and more mental with each sort of cycle through the system.
Yeah, I mean, most thing you ask it, it'll just go online to find the answer. But like as you say, it's had 2 years of crap filling the internet, and that's what it's looking at now. Okay, yeah, no, it's really interesting. It takes longer than you think. All these changes take longer than we think. That's the bottom line. But they do happen. That's the other thing, though. Don't be too complacent. You know, it might take 50 years instead of 2 years, but it will happen.
Chris, is there anything in the book, the prophecy book specifically, that you think maybe we haven't covered that we should do?
Not really, because what I'm going to make a few changes. I'm going to give more examples from movies, because I think that's the way to get into those. Yeah, no, not really. The main thing is, if you've seen this book, the Jack Kirby's History Teacher, it's 70% the same. The main thing is, I've got the new introduction saying "I told you so." I got a bit more about the Book of Enoch, the beginning end, and I've stuck the Kirby book at the end, because this book also had a lot of stuff about Atlantis and the Bible. Hence, those are now completely separate books, because there's so much stuff on that. I thought I can't keep this as a 1,000-page appendix.
Well, one of my favourite things about that book was the Atlantis appendix at the end. So I'm glad that you've expanded that into its own book.
Oh yeah, I'm actually quite proud of this. This is the least controversial one. I'm pretty mean to scholars, but if you're not a scholar, you'll be safe. No, I'm actually very proud of this. I think I've got some fantastic stuff. I say to myself, if I tried to get on the there's a great podcast called the something about it's you guys, wasn't it?
Which one?
Something about the Amish Inquisition.
I seem to remember going to the Amish Inquisition and saying, "Can I talk about the Atlantis book?" And you pointed out you've had like 52 different people talking about Atlantis, and you're sick of it. Please, is there any other topic to talk about? But fair enough.
I'll tell you what it was, Chris. When you messaged us the last time, I think we already had Matt Apocalypse on, and Stig maybe in close proximity.
Right.
And
I didn't want to sort of overload everyone with Atlantis in the short spiel.
Matt Apocalypse. In fact, I've added a new section after a new introduction based on the Matt Apocalypse stuff. I hope he doesn't mind. I've sort of printed one of his pictures because it was so good.
Cross-fertilization. He's not here, I don't think.
Is he not here in the chat?
I've not seen him.
I've not seen him. He might be lurking, though.
You teased before about aliens, or like the Alien film.
Oh, yeah, no, that's my Matt Apocalypse page.
Oh, cool.
Right, okay.
With his picture at the bottom.
Nice.
No, that was great. I'm actually very proud of this, but on the other hand, I mean, I don't need to talk about it. If you download it, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. You know?
I was just wondering, Chris, about, you mentioned before briefly about Aliens or Alien, that kind of film franchise, because that's something I suppose that rings true for me, you know, in terms of like Wayland Corp it is, I think, isn't it, in the Alien film, that essentially private enterprise takes over space exploration and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and the date that.
I was just going to say, so I don't know if you know any dates off the top of your head.
Yeah, 2121.
Oh, right, okay.
So they have 2122 is when the events of Alien take place.
Oh, right, okay.
So again, coincidence? Possibly. It's just another example of how... one thing that we'll be looking at the dates, I've got to point out, because these movies are fiction, okay? The point of fiction is trying to simplify things. For example, if you want to tell a story about an alternative world, you might just say, okay, we've got faster than light travel because you've got to get there. That means it's not a story about faster than light travel. They're not really saying we're going to have faster than light travel on this date. They're just saying, I want to get to this world. And this is one of those. It's about aliens, but I mean, if you look at what it's really about, it's about a corporation that's willing to kill everybody for profit.
Yeah.
And they come to the point where they think that's a good idea. And in the movie, it's 2122. In Kirby's stories, I reckon it's 2121. We can argue about a few months, you know. I think it's fascinating how people look into the future and they come to the same conclusion. We'll get to the point where our leaders will happily kill us all, and that's the story of Noah's Ark. The people in the original version of Gilgamesh, the rulers decided they'd kill everybody to make a point. They thought, well, this is a good plan. Let's just kill everybody. And back to the Fantastic Four. That's what Kirby was talking about Mr. Fantastic doing before they changed the story. You know, let's kill everybody, you know. Or let's use the ultimate nullifier to get rid of Galactus. It's just, you don't do that. You don't go that far. This is a really, really bad idea. But yeah, the dates are the same. 21, 21, 21, 22.
Right.
That's when they decide that killing everybody is maybe a good option. It's like, no. At that point, all collapses.
Do you think the next sort of frontier, when it comes to like the space gods like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and whatnot, do you think maybe the moon is the next frontier, that they want to start mining there or mining asteroids or what? How do you see it panning out?
Yeah, but I think asteroids is the key. Because people used to say, well, why does Elon Musk want to go to Mars? Because if you can get to Mars, you can get to asteroids, and asteroids are phenomenal amounts of everything you want. I mean, rare earth metals. I don't know if you're following it. There's a couple of Chinese type. I don't speak Chinese, but you know, Chinese people on YouTube are always talking about the economics of America versus China. Yeah, and rare earth is a big thing because if you've got these rare earth metals, for example, if you've got any kind of machine that gets hot, magnets don't work well in the hot, but rare earth metals will, and that's why they're important. And then there's phenomenal amounts of these things in asteroids, crazy amounts, sort of like all the gold in the world times 1,000 kind of amount. Sort of amount that even a tiny amount of this would just. I haven't got the numbers with me, but think of a number and add sort of 6 or 7 or 15 zeros at the end of it. That's the kind of platinum and rare earth stuff you're talking about. So that's what it's all about. Yeah, get the asteroids. If you can get one of these things, then you have all the rare earth metals you could possibly want, and more than everybody else has.
There was a story. This is probably the only news story I've read or read the headline of this week. I might have read it as well. I can't remember. About there's a plan by 2030 to put a nuclear reactor on the moon. Apparently, yes. The US want to do that. So you know, that would be interesting if that occurs.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that's one of the things that'll take longer. I mean, you can probably make some money on something that's not going to.
Yes.
Try and get a person there first, maybe.
Yes, there's that. But like you said, you know, I've read the stories. You know, apparently when they. I think they do it with radio waves, don't you? You bounce it off an asteroid, you can tell you what elements are there. And there's trillions and trillions of dollars worth of gold or platinum or whatever on a single asteroid, but it's getting there and getting back, isn't it, I guess?
Yes, so they will have a base on the moon, and there will be nuclear stuff. It just will take longer than you think. So I think the Kirby's date of 2040 for when they start going to the Mars is probably about right.
Yeah.
I mean, Musk has been saying he'll do it in 2024. I mean, I must have missed that one.
Yeah, he seems a bit of an optimist, doesn't he? For his
send a Tesla into space, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Big deal.
Yeah, sent a car into space, an empty car.
Have you been following the Online Safety Act, Chris?
Oh, that one. How much did I admit? Let me say that I'm getting to the age now where I'm happy to not do certain things if it's too much. If someone says to me, you can't go on this website unless you give me these details and sign this and check this, I'm like, do I really need to? I'm a happily married man. I'm a lot older than I used to be. It's no longer the most important thing in my life.
I was thinking more. I appreciate your honesty, but I was thinking more about sort of the unintended consequences of it, where people on Twitter seem to be able to not find stories about protests over certain Middle Eastern countries, and people can't see video. We've had people being arrested for tweets and thrown in prison and such. It's like,
oh yeah. I mean, absolutely dystopian, horrific stuff. Yeah. This is part of the reason I'm going to focus on my game. It's like I can't stand looking at the news anymore. It's just horrendous.
Yeah.
But and why I'm kind of optimistic. I think, well, sure, enough people are also going to see it as horrendous. I think there will be some backlash, and things will get temporarily better. Stepping back, I think we're on a downward slide. But the sort of 10-year thing, I think is going to get a bit better. It's got to, surely.
Yeah, I hope so.
But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't want to get how political to get. Somebody asked me a couple of years ago, the last election, are you voting for a certain well-known politician? I said, this person has lied about everything he's ever done. He's famous, so you cannot say anything without lying. Everything he said is 100% promise. He'll always go back on it. I'm like, am I the only crazy one here?
I mean, that could be any politician, Chris. Name names.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about Keir Starmer?
Yes.
Yeah.
He had his 10 pledges, and one by one, he completely reversed each one of them.
Right.
It's the way he said these are cast iron pledges. I mean, usually politicians have a little more sense to. You think they're saying something, they're not saying it. But to actually be an idiot enough to write it down and say, this is the cast iron 100% pledge, and then go and change it. Oh dear, you're a bit of an amateur, aren't you?
Yeah, it does strike me as an amateur.
That's another thing. Several very intelligent commentators have pointed out, all our politicians in Europe are crap. It's a while. I mean, I'm not a fan of certain well-known politicians in the 80s, but at least they stood up for themselves and had beliefs. They had some sort of theoretical system which they tried to follow. It might not be a good one, but I mean, throughout Europe now, they're all just weak and just mindless yes men who'll just do anything for a small bribe. It's pathetic.
Do you think they're working for like a layer above the political class? Are you into like shadow government and sort of a hierarchy above the political class?
Well, my view is most of it doesn't even matter that much. I think if you stand back, it's more to do with there's bigger forces at work. I think eventually we'll look back and we'll just sort of see things changing and randomness. I'm a big believer in people being a lot dumber than we think. I've got a section in my Atlantis book about life after death. If you measure the human mind, the amount of data we can cope with is 10 bits per second. Now, I mean, our brain obviously is far more complicated than that, but the brain is not us. Us is the bit we see. 10 bits a second, 10 1 0. There is less information in our mind than there is at a single point in space, by like an order of magnitude. We are a lot dumber than we think. I think most of the things we get clever decisions really are just randomness. I'm sorry, I haven't really planned for this one, but but that's my general feeling is there's a lot more stupidity and a lot more sort of mindlessness. And I think stepping back and having a 50-year, 100-year view is quite a sensible thing. Bad things will happen and do happen, but it's a lot of churn and a lot of madness and a lot of confusion. And we try and make it sound as if it's intelligent because it makes us feel better.
Right.
But most of what we do is not intelligent at all. No. That's my view.
Yeah, we seem to be perpetually self-destructive, our species. Or maybe it's not our species, but just the way we're organised at the current point in time. And it's more to do with the systems that are governing us and controlling us rather than the individuals. I think most people you speak to, obviously we have psychopaths running everything, but most people you speak to are just normal people who just want a happy life. They want simple things. We're not complicated, generally.
Yeah. I mean, can I draw attention to the subtitle of my Bible book, Eve, Cain, and our 12,000-year war against the robots. My view is that cities are robots. Cities are, and any organisation of more than 150 people, it evolves for its own uses.
Yeah.
And it always has done. And I think we've got a lot less control over than we think. And I don't think it's a question of the city is intelligent and sort of planning things in a nefarious, moustache-twirling way. It evolves for its own benefits. And I think that's the answer.
Well, Chris, it's going dark. We should let you go.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm starting to get little lights coming up saying I'm down to 30%.
Right.
Which isn't bad. 30% is better than I thought. And I've got to plug in pick it up. I'm starting to ramble even more than I normally do at this point.
It's okay. We like you rambling.
After last time when I couldn't even hear anything.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a lot better. The audio's been much better tonight, so that's fantastic. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience, your knowledge, your books, your writing with us.
Yeah.
And links will be in the show notes as ever for people to check it out.
Yes.
And don't forget to buy a physical copy because, it's going to come collapsing down pretty soon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I mean, can I point out in the end of the Atlantis book, the last sort of 100 pages or so is all the most important ancient documents you could ever need.
Oh, wow.
So I've got, wait a minute. Is this on? Yeah, I've got where does it start? I've got the most important bits of Genesis, obviously. You've got the Usher chronology, most important parts of that. I've got the Apocryphon of John. I love the Apocryphon of John. That's such a good book. New Voyages to North America. Got Gilgamesh, the usual stuff. Atrahasis, the Enuma Elish. It's all the last few pages here. So yeah. Wow. So when you're sitting on your atomic rubble or watching the mushroom clouds, and you've got no electricity, and you've got no food anyway, well, that gives something to think about.
You can read that and then eat it afterwards.
Yeah.
I should have thinking about sugar paper. Well, that's it. If I sell 10,000 copies, I'll make a special sugar paper version.
Yeah. That might come in handy.
Yeah. Right, Chris, we'll let you go.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you again. You did a wonderful job. Keep it up.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Right, we'll let Chris go. Take care.
Yeah.
Speak soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. We're going to just keep the stream running,
Okay.
I think, and have a quick break, and then have a bit of a chat. There isn't really a part 2 tonight.
Right.
For various reasons. Sorry.
You just turned us both off, didn't you?
I
for
did,
no reason?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's been one of them weeks for me.
Has it?
Yes, numerous things have happened.
Oh, but we might talk about
None of them good.
Oh.
So, yeah, we'll keep this stream. We're not doing a part 2. We'll keep this stream running, and we're just gonna have a quick break and a wee.
And a wee, yeah, I might need a wee too for once.
And then we'll come back and just have a chat for a bit before bedtime.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Beddy buys.
All right. See you soon. Stay tuned.
Limp Dick City.
Can't leave us hanging after that reveal. Did I do a reveal? Sniper Mike.
Oh, I don't know.
Can't leave us hanging after that reveal.
What about his bad week?
Oh, right. Oh, God.
Nothing good has happened, apparently.
Oh, anyway, we're back.
The dwarf, the cripple, and the mother of madness.
It's been a right week, hasn't it? I mean, it started last weekend when we went out on Saturday and met those Israeli spies.
Oh, mate. Have you not spoken about that yet? Nothing added up about that encounter, did it? So we met this. She was in her like mid-20s? She said.
I don't remember her giving an age.
Well, the only way I would know that is that she mentioned she was in a relationship with a man who was 10 years older than her, and who lived in Canada, and she was going to go, I think, like soonish, to go and live with him there or something.
New assignment.
Yeah, yeah. And she said that she'd lived in Lancashire her entire life. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Or studied maybe in Bristol.
Yeah, but she was local, apparently.
Yeah, but she didn't have a single flat vowel, did she?
No, she was speaking perfect Queen's.
Yeah, she was. Very estuary English, I suppose. I can't remember if I asked if she went private. Maybe I thought that and didn't ask that. If she went to private school. Because there's a lot of private schools, isn't there, on the Fylde coast at least. Because she said she had links there to Blackpool. So there's like Arnold in Blackpool, I think, is a private school. Then there's is it Queen's? Not Queen. Queggs, is it?
Queen Elizabeth Grammar School.
That one, I think that's private, isn't it, in Lytham? And there's one further up, isn't there? Past Cleveley's.
Not Kegs.
I can't remember. King Edward's.
Yeah, I think so.
One of them closed, I think.
Right.
But there's one further up, which is, oh God, I can't remember the name of it. It's past Cleveley's, but not quite to Morecambe.
We'd been out all day drinking. And
how dare you?
And ended up at a pub.
Yeah.
And the bar wench, for some reason,
took a shining to us.
Decided to, once she finished, well, the pub was still open, right? But she just came down and sat down.
But I think she'd finished working because she said she was like working till 10 or whatever.
So we were outside in the street smoking on a side table.
Yeah.
And it was quite a bizarre event.
Yeah, you picked up straight away, didn't you?
I thought Mossad immediately.
We're being. So she's obviously found us on YouTube, like one of the only people that's found the channel. I thought these people need to be shut down. They need to be infiltrated.
When at one point when you went inside to the loo or something,
that's when the real stuff. Oh, just when I went inside. When I went inside to the toilet, it's the only time I went to the toilet in there that I can remember. It was like a slidey door to get into the toilet.
Right.
And the door was slid shut. So I thought, right, I'll risk it because I'm sure you could lock it. Opened it. There was a middle-aged woman sat on the toilet. And I made her scream.
Oh my God.
And I didn't shut the door. She, woo! Like that. Fuck. It's a good job it wasn't the 70s, otherwise.
At one point when you went in, somehow.
But she was sat in the men's toilet. There was a women's toilet as well.
Okay.
I'm not finished the story. Let's finish complaining about this. You just reminded me of it when you said about the toilet. And then I had to wait there, and she had to walk past me to go to her table, which was just.
Was she crimping one off as well?
Oh God!
Did it stink?
It didn't stink, thankfully. No, but she was in there a while. Oh. Yeah, just use the ladies, man. Just use the ladies. Anyway, would have solved all those problems.
So while you went to the toilet, for some reason I don't know how, the subject of travelling. She mentioned India. She'd been to India, and I went, "Oh, Goa."
Right.
I just went, yeah. I know it's so cliche. And so yeah, that's where all the Westerners used to go. It became the hub in the 60s.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know, I got this vibe of there's a certain, you mentioned it, I think, something called mimicking.
Oh, right. Okay. Where
Do you
you
remember
start.
this?
No, I don't remember. Did we talk about it on the night, mimicking?
Yeah.
Right.
After
okay.
she'd gone. Well,
Right.
how did she leave?
Her handlers turned up and took her. Yeah. Her agent, her handlers came, didn't they?
Two guys.
Two guys came. Allegedly, her father and her brother also didn't, without a single flat foul between them, lived their entire lives within the vicinity of Preston.
The dad kind of, he wasn't comfortable.
No, but we were pretty hammered though, weren't we? And
No, yeah.
so, you know.
I just got vibes he just wanted to get out of there straight away.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, but
He was evasive.
right, okay,
I remember
right.
probing
Oh,
him,
ooh,
and he was quite evasive.
right. Yes, I do remember thinking, like, have you lived in Longridge your entire life or
He
something?
mentioned living in Longridge, and I went, "Oh, I know Longridge really well." And I almost saw his face drop.
Right. Okay.
I think, is that because you think I'm a knobhead, or is that because you didn't really live in Longridge a long time?
Yeah.
It was bizarre, wasn't it? Bizarre evening. End to the evening.
Well, that wasn't the end, unfortunately, was it? We still managed to fit in another, another 3 double gins and tonics in the local Weatherspoons that turns into a discotheque.
Right, so there's this place called the 12 Tellers, which is it used to be a bank, right?
Yeah, and it was shut for decades, wasn't it? And they turned it into.
I've only been in
Wetherspoons.
once before, and I think it was during the day.
Yeah, and it's a Weatherspoons during the day. It's a standard Weatherspoons, silent, dark, cheap beer, about 1,000 items on the menu.
And I was blown away
Yeah,
when we went in. I mean, guessing it was midnight, maybe? We did
Yeah.
try to get in another nightclub first, but we were turned away for being too drunk.
No, that was the other way around, I think, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
No.
I thought we went there after
No.
Weatherspoons.
No,
Oh my
no,
God.
no. We got turned away by one nightclub.
Right, okay.
Cock.
Well, he just looked at you
Yeah,
this time.
yeah.
You took the heat. It's normally me they come and point at, but it was you this time.
So we went to this place called the 12 Tellers, and it was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was bizarre. It was like it was a disco. There was like smoke machines, like flashing lights, packed full of hot young things everywhere.
I couldn't believe how young everyone was.
Well-
Almost too young.
They were all probably like 20, I imagine.
Really? They all
Yeah.
just seemed so much younger.
I doubt it.
I know. I'm just,
And I
maybe
think
it's because I'm getting old.
They are like pretty hot because my nieces are nephews.
Excuse me.
My nieces and nephews are like in their early 20s now, and I remember when they started going out a couple of years ago. You have to take ID with you basically.
Oh, the hot on checking ID.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So you have to take something, or you some industrious people might look for someone that they look a little bit like and borrow their something or other.
How shit was the DJ?
Well, I did shout at him to put on Mr. Brightside. And he went, about half an hour, mate. Something like that.
They never played it.
No, and he managed to empty the dance floor several times, didn't he?
Yeah, he couldn't seem to read the room, could he?
No. Yeah, it was like the DJ at my wedding, that. God. Yeah. It's just people dancing around
Yeah.
in a pub, in a Weatherspoons.
It's good. I think we should go again.
To Weatherspoons. I tell you what, when we went out in the day around Chorley, like you do,
Yeah.
and we were drinking. We were hitting up all the real ale spots in Chorley, or half of them, and it was like £5 a pint, wasn't it? Everywhere, at least
Pretty much.
for where we were going.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went into Weatherspoons, £2.75
Unbelievable.
for a Doom bar, £11.72. Don't forget the 72
What was £11.72?
for a burger and chips.
Oh, did we eat?
Yeah, do you not remember? I think you got a pizza. Or did you get a burger as well? In Wetherspoons, yeah.
Give off it.
Yeah, and then you got a 12-inch pizza on the way home.
Hang on, are you talking about Wetherspoons in Chorley?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I thought you were thinking 12 sellers.
No, we had a roast dinner.
You served till 3 a.m. All day breakfast, please.
There was a place, I'm sure in Tokyo Joe's they used to have they used to do like chicken in a basket.
Yeah.
At like 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever.
Right, I remember now. Yeah, the Wetherspoons at Chorley we ate, and it was cheap, but it was, it is what it is.
Yeah. Fine.
It was fine.
It was fine. I just can't get over it. Every time I go to Wetherspoons, there's literally 1,000 items on that menu.
Yeah.
About 20 variations on a burger, depending on the sauces.
That's it. Yeah, we got like New York burgers or something, didn't we? For 11 something.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, some shit.
I think it was just like a bacon cheeseburger or something.
It was fine. It was fine.
I know. Yeah.
So yeah, good night. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Just skip Chorley and everything else. Let's go straight to 12 tellers for whenever it opens.
You could do. I'm pretty sure you could do.
Save a fortune.
More than 12 hours in there. I spent more than 100 quid.
Wow.
I spent, I think, 130 quid. But I did have a 12-inch pizza. On the way home, and a portion of chips, and we stopped at our favourite late night takeaway, which it's still the same guy with his kind of
beaten down apprentice,
and it seemed to be his brother. There was another guy there, or his son, the apprentice's son, is there so long. It's mad, isn't it? If I had to guess, I would guess he was Sikh, the apprentice, because he wears the head wrap thing, doesn't he? Yeah. Hair wrap, whatever. And it just seems like there's just something not quite right about.
Seems kind of toxic relationship, doesn't it? Toxic work environment.
Definitely toxic work environment. I love how the old man pretends to recognise me as well every time I go in.
He has to humour you.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, you've only been going in 20 years.
Well, more, I think, now, unfortunately. 25.
Yeah, I got home with my 12-inch pizza. Zeus helped me.
Oh, did he eat some? I ate it all myself.
I think
chips.
I think he was, giving me the eyes. So
right, okay.
Thought, go on then.
And then the lipstick.
Yeah, have a bit of pepperoni pizza. I think you had a slice or two. Maybe.
Nice. I have a tendency of coming home, and putting loud music on my headphones.
Oh, on your headphones?
Yeah, not on the stereo. Fucking hell.
Why do you do that?
I want the
party going.
Yeah, I think I need the party to. I think it's because quite often we go out and the DJ refuses to play Mr. Brightside, so I have to play it on repeat for 4 hours. And so I'm not allowed to sleep in the same bed as my wife. When I come home steaming,
because I have snoring. Yeah,
I have to sleep on the sofa downstairs. It's a big sofa, so it's fine. But then I get to swap over, and I wasn't good for anything, unfortunately.
No, I was rough as fuck on Sunday, and then we had the podcast.
Yeah, so I
was tired, really tired last week.
Yeah, I slept on and off all day, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's a lot of gin to process.
And the Monday was my youngest 10th birthday.
For fuck's sake.
So we had the whole house, the whole extended family over for beige buffet and everything.
No. Well, that beige buffet, I mean, I was sweating, funnily, until Wednesday.
Funny sweats.
Yeah, funny.
For 48 hours at least, 72.
Yeah, funny sweating.
It's the Trumps, that game. The real ill Trumps are just horrific.
Is that not the 12-inch pepperoni?
No, it's definitely a Doom bar type thing. Yeah, we had a house full screaming kids.
So you got unleashed hell. Just drop a few bombs around, clear a few rooms out.
Yeah, had to stay outside.
Oops, Zeus has farted again.
Oh, God, naughty dog. And was it, a Wednesday? No, I think it was Tuesday. the missus had an interview
Oh, right.
for her job that
Oh.
she has.
Oh.
So
Are they like rethinking,
that's this usual.
restructuring?
They're skint. They're
Right,
going
okay.
bust, aren't they? So she's had to do an interview for her to try and keep her job.
Oh, right. Okay.
And also on Tuesday, I think it was, she got a what do you call it? A penalty notice, fixed penalty notice for going through the bus lane, dropping me off at the station to go to Chorley.
Oh, they've made a fortune out of that.
It's literally like 20 meters, if that.
Yeah, it is.
It's they're shitters.
Do you not
Absolute
realise that you
shitters.
couldn't do that anymore?
No, on Corporation Street. It's
Yeah,
fucking stupid.
You have to go
You gotta go
right.
round.
Yeah, follow the rather than
Yeah. So she weren't happy about that.
How much was that?
If you pay immediately, 35 quid.
Oh my god!
Otherwise, it's 70 for
It's
driving
so-
down a road for like 30 feet.
It's mad, and I don't know what that resolves other than it's to make people use the main ring road in Preston, isn't it, rather than the
I think it's just to make money.
town centre. Well, yeah, there's that as well, isn't it? I think it's made 2 million quid in a year
This
or
week.
something. Yeah, yeah.
So she had another interview at the same work for a similar job in her department.
Oh, she's had 2 interviews this week.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in case she doesn't get a job.
You got to spray everywhere
I mean, she needs to have a job, you see, to
Yes.
pay bills and shit.
to pay for her fines.
Pay for her fines, yeah. And then on Wednesday, she had her car written off.
No, she didn't.
Yep.
It's out there, isn't it?
Yep.
Have you bought it back off him or something?
No.
Why did it get written off?
Someone running back of her.
Right.
It's like damaged the bumper.
Oh, right. Well, and it's just they've said,
Whole boot would have to be sprayed
right. Okay.
and new bumper, whatever.
Okay.
So it's a write-off because it's only an old banger.
So what are you gonna do then with the
We'll
car?
have to get a new car.
Oh my god. Well, can you not do the thing where you buy it back?
Buy its back. We own it.
Yeah. So yeah, but they're writing it off, aren't they? So they're not going to pay out the insurance.
Yeah, they've offered 2,000 and something quid
Right. Okay.
for it.
So what you can do is buy it back off them.
What do you mean buy it back off them? They don't own it.
Oh, right. Okay.
What do you mean?
I thought they would come and take it when they.
Yeah, they will.
Right. Okay. They give you the money and they take it,
Yeah.
but then you can buy it back off them
Oh, right.
for less, for like what,
But how would
500
you,
quid.
oh, but how do you go about getting it insured then when it's been written off?
Well, you would have to have it repaired to a roadworthy. So it would pass. Like, as long as
It's drivable.
yes, as long as its subframe is it's structurally sound, you might be able to buy it back off the insurance company for less than they pay it out. Basically, essentially.
I kind of had my heart set on a new car. to be honest.
Oh, well, buy a new car then if you want to be in debt.
I'm thinking maybe either PCP, like James Brown, or a lease. I'm trying to talk her into a lease for a couple of years.
Really, what's your thoughts on getting a lease car?
Well, we don't know if she's going to have a job soon. So
right, okay. You don't want that overhead.
we're going to have to... It seems like you've got to buy... If you want something decent, you're talking 15 grand.
Yeah.
So rather than borrowing a load of money,
Mm.
just take the money they give us. That is that pays a
Yeah.
deposit for a lease car for 2 or 3 years, and then it's 100 quid each a month or something.
Right, yeah.
Just as a stopgap for a few years.
Mm.
Because I mean, you don't want to be in a rush buying a second-hand car. You
No.
want to try and take your time and
Find a decent one.
yeah.
Find a holy grail spec.
Yeah.
Like me, that's why I've been looking for 5 years. Still looking for that Octavia VRS estate.
For £3.
Yeah. I'm just gradually seeing them going up and up and up in price. I'm fucking not kidding you. They're going up in price rather than down, the ones I'm looking at. They're so like rocking or shit. This year though, I think this is the last year I'm going to get the mechanic to put the Jazz through its MOT. I've said it for the last 7 years to him. It's the last time. House will be finished.
If it keeps passing.
Yeah, but it's fucking
Yeah. It's grim.
it's grim, and it's kind of rusty and feels a little bit like it could just die at any time.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would.
I mean, do you even need it these days? Is it just a handy to have it?
It's handy having the second car, but also I do go places with the kids a lot, so we could do with a bigger boot.
Yeah.
To put stuff in. So that's the main thinking behind it, like bikes and stuff mainly.
Get a bike rack from Halfords.
I know.
They're great.
I'm not doing that. Or like, just going places basically a little bit more. It's a nightmare. You can't really. Have to take the bikes apart and stuff. So in order to not have to take my kids' bikes apart to put them in the car, I'm just going to pay 15 grand for a car. Because that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
So, that was part of the eventful week. I had a 70th birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Which was, we left about 3:30 maybe.
Okay.
I had to do the big shop obviously in the morning. So
was it a double shop or a normal shop?
It was a half shop.
Right.
I got my 10% off last week.
Okay.
At Lidl.
Mm.
So a small shop.
We seem to have started shopping at Aldi again now.
Right.
Aldi seem to have upped their game with the meat freshness.
Oh.
I'm not having to throw it away all the time when we're opening it up.
Is that a thing?
Went through a phase of opening meat, like...
That was in date?
Yeah, a few days in date sometimes, and it would stink.
Really?
And I had to wing it. It's happened recently with Morrison's, where we've mainly... And it happens with Aldi occasionally still for chicken... Something about chicken thighs.
Right.
We eat a lot of chicken thighs in our house, at least once a week, sometimes twice. There will be a chicken thigh dish. And if we open it on the day, quite often they fucking stink like cheese.
Wow, that's grim.
I know, yeah. Can't figure out what it is.
It's climate change.
Well, at the Morrisons, our local Morrisons, they've had open refrigerators for years, and now they've got the ones with doors on.
Oh, great.
So I wonder if that might help.
Yeah.
But they had them at Aldi for ages, haven't they?
They're figuring out you've got to put the doors on, then you can lock them.
Yes.
Because of
keep the peasantry out.
Yeah, keep the thieving down.
Yes.
It's like that in some places, isn't it? Where stuff's locked up now, I believe. Like in big cities and shit.
Oh, right, okay. I mean, I know there's the thing is, I read I can't remember what it was. It's something slagging off Britain, obviously. But it's like, your country's fucked when meat has a security tag on it in the supermarket.
It's an end times. It's a harbinger.
I'm trying to think, when we went to Spain, did they have tags on the meat? I don't think they did. But like the wine was quite often the wine's in a locked. Sorry, there was cheap wine on the shelves, and then there was expensive wine that was in locked stuff. You had to ask a woman, but I couldn't. I don't know what locked is in Spanish, so I couldn't do it. Say, puede unlock la?
Yeah, Duolingo's paying off, innit?
It is, yeah.
Fucking hell.
But you gotta, if I learned the verb to lock, and it was a regular verb, I could just do it.
Right.
It just ends. It's just o, a. So it's
Lacoa.
So it's hablo. So yo hablo, I speak. Tu habla. Was it tu hablas? I think it's tu habla. No, tu hablas. El
Ojim.
habla.
El habla.
Ellos hablan.
El habla. Blah, blah, blah. That's said to me, blah, blah.
Yeah. So you got to remember. So if you got the, I think it was like that in French, wasn't it?
I don't know. I'd just point. I would just point. Probably.
Oh,
Manuel.
Yeah. This one. Yeah. This. You. This.
Uno. Of them.
Yeah.
So I had a 70th do yesterday, which was another heavy one. And then today I had to put a basketball net together.
Oh, you've done that today, have you?
Yeah.
Had the had the whining got to fever pitch because it was his birthday on Monday?
I think he'd forgotten it was even there.
Oh, right, okay.
I played some co-op with him, some co-op FIFA with him this afternoon as well.
I've played some Fortnite with my eldest.
Do you get carried?
Well, we take turns. It's not. I suppose I'm not playing with him. I'd have to have my own account, wouldn't I think, to play with him.
Oh, you weren't playing on the same machine. You were taking turns.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not playing with him.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
What platform are you on?
I've just put it on the PS4.
You got a PS4.
Yeah, there's heavy lobbying for a PS5 for Christmas.
Is there? Between them, that'd be good.
Well, yeah, I think it'll be
Between them.
a household PS5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to live in the back room because of the shouting.
Well, when the HDMI port breaks, I know a good guy who's good at fixing them.
Yeah, I know. That's what. Yeah. Yeah. So we're just trying to figure out which one to go for and the deals and stuff.
Oh, is there? I
She's
know there's the
hanging off.
digital. We have the digital one.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have a disk drive, but fear not, if you feel like
you need
you
a disk
get the
drive.
digital one and you feel you fucked up, you can buy it separately.
Yes.
The disk drive, so to make it a Blu-ray player.
Yeah. So that's what my wife was saying basically.
Do you have a Blu-ray player currently?
Yeah, it's called a PS4.
PS4, right?
But it's very loud. PS4 is apparently the PS5 is quieter. So
depends how
much you're thrashing it.
Yeah, it depends on how.
Have you got one PS5 in your house?
Two.
I thought this is what we're going to end up doing. Is they're both going to end up with one.
Yeah, the eldest got one.
Yeah.
He bought it.
I remember you saying
because I had him doing all sorts of jobs. He was in this like manic state of what can I do to get money off you,
right? Okay.
Basically, so I was giving him chores to do and things to try and because he gets money off grandma and stuff at Christmas and birthdays or Auntie Joyce, whatever. And so he was a certain way. I can't remember what they were at the time. Maybe they were 380 quid or something like that.
Still the same,
right? And maybe he was up to 270 or 300 quid or whatever, so he needed that last bit, so he was doing loads of chores to make it up. And then the youngest one, how long has he had his? Did he get it at Christmas? I think maybe he got it for Christmas. And it was well, we'll put some and you can put some, and did it like that.
Right, okay.
He uses it to watch YouTube as well. He watches like Matt Apocalypse on YouTube and shit.
Joe Rogan. Sargon never catch.
Oh my god, he's really going dark at the minute, Sargon.
Has he been banned off YouTube?
Oh no, he's back on. He's on YouTube. But he's on the Civil War.
Oh right, okay.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to. I like Sargon. I like his stuff, and even though it is a bit doom laden, a bit, it's pointing out all the shitty stuff that's happening. But he's very eloquent, and he's a big ancient history nerd as well. So
yeah,
obviously, hence
the
name,
hence the handle.
Yeah.
No, how did you find the eldest? Well, he effectively paid for that.
Paid for what?
His PS5.
Yeah.
And did you make him share it with the young one? Let the young one play on it?
No.
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 He was not allowed to play on it.
I'm sure he would have if he wanted to, but I think they kind of all play sort of single player games,
right?
Or online multiplayers. It's not like when we were kids and you would play together on a single console a game of FIFA or whatever. That's not what happens. Everything's done in the cloud.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Isn't it? So he was playing he had a Switch. The original Switch, so he was happy with that for the time being, but obviously he was jonesing for a PlayStation as soon as the eldest got one.
That's right.
Saying like, well, you're gonna have to wait till these things don't just fall out the fucking sky, mate.
They don't grow on PlayStation trees.
No, it's like you're gonna have to put towards, and we'll come to an arrangement. All right.
Yeah. You scratch my back.
You scratch my balls.
You sniff my finger.
So it's good we played together. Like he was upstairs and I was downstairs.
Right.
Playing FIFA.
Okay.
cooperatively.
Okay.
And lighting it up in Division Rivals.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so that was good fun. We just had an hour before I had to make the tea.
Yeah.
My domestic duties called.
Before you had to return to your being trained to the sink.
So it's been a very hectic week. I did have stuff for part 2 this week, but I haven't had time to do the pre-production for it.
No, you were lighting up FIFA. The FIFA
Well, for an hour, yeah, but I mean, it takes a lot more than an hour to do all the pre-production stuff. So it takes, especially like doing the ISOs. Oh, that's another thing. So I emailed Rode this week because our Rodecaster Pro 2 is dead.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a reply yet. It's a year out of warranty. So I don't know what they're going to say. They're probably going to say, send it to our licensed repairer and it'll cost X, Y, and Z. They probably have to replace a whole circuit board as well. Just for that shitty 2 cent on-off button.
Right. And it's a known failure, is it?
Yeah, there's people on internet with the same thing. And they've taken it a bit, opened it up and heard the button rattling around.
Oh, right.
And it's literally the size of a grain of rice, the power button. It's a known point of failure. So I'm waiting to hear back what that's going to cost. I don't know. But it makes things a lot easier. Like doing the end of show ISOs, recording them on this is an absolute pain in the crotch. Compared to that, I have to do it on computer and transfer it over and edit them. I can't edit on the machine. I've got to edit them in the third-party software on the computer and then transfer them over and all the rest of it. It's just a pain in the ass. So
fuck it.
Yeah, so
we don't need that.
Well, I do. Otherwise, we'll get stuff like this.
I thought it was boring and unfunny and a bit depressing.
That's one of last week's.
That's
Ben got it straight away.
He's the film reviewer.
Mark.
Kermode.
Yeah, the shitter.
Yeah.
We found an evergreen though. Ben said this has to stay on the board forever. This
Oh.
one.
The sun is a deadly laser.
Oh no, not that one.
That is an evergreen one. Yeah, that's old time.
See, they're not labelled because I can't label them on the desk. I have to fuck about. No, I meant this one.
Phil's got more confidence than ability. He's never had any formal training.
Yes, that always has to stay.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
you can play that all the time, every week.
Whenever I'm struggling.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah.
When you start to launch the podcast and you look at me generally and say, I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, I'm out of sorts. It's usually what you say every week.
Yeah. I'm out of nick.
Yeah.
It's like being a batsman. It's like being a test batsman running this podcast.
What, leather on willow?
Yes. It's ball tampering. If you miss any, you get out of nick, and like using different equipment just completely throws a spanner in the works. But
it does, doesn't it?
It is what it is.
I mean, how did we even get by with such peasantry?
Well, it was less complicated.
Yeah.
I think the show was less complicated.
It was, wasn't it?
I seem to have got the preamps working better. Halfway through that with Chris, I rolled back the preamp volume on my channel, which seemed to get rid of a lot of the background noise.
Right.
Because the audio quality just on this old machine just is night and day to the new one. But I will see what they say if they email this week. Yeah.
Yeah. Be nice to have it back.
Yeah, I'd like to have it back.
Mm.
I started a new Discord account this week.
Why?
Because Ryan's started a Discord server, Ryan 7.
Right, okay.
And last time he was in here, he mentioned it and said, you should come in. We've got lots of cool researchers in there.
Right. Right, okay.
Melissa, previous guest and who was in the chat in part 1, Melissa Campbell's in there. Matt Apocalypse is in there.
Right, just to chat.
To share information and what they're doing and, try and unravel
So you're going to
mysteries.
fry that one as well, are you?
Well, I'm hoping it doesn't get nuked. Just because, I've used a different email address.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping
Phil Amish.
Ryan likes my avatar. I found a picture of that picture of Noel Edmonds topless.
You found it. You fucking saved on your phone.
That's my avatar. So yeah, back on Discord. But
For how long?
yeah. Oh no! Hope I don't get it nuked.
No. Did we finish the story about the Israeli spy that we
I don't know. Did we miss anything?
I think we got to Goa, and then we didn't really talk about the Goa thing.
There wasn't much to say about that. That I can remember.
She said something. Yeah, I remember you telling me after she'd gone that she was on the beach, and she said that she's got an Israeli passport.
Oh, is that how we found out she was an Israeli?
I assume so. Yeah. And she flashed her Israeli passport, and the police said, "Oh, right, okay."
Oh my God, she was bragging about how she won't get touched for doing anything.
Yeah.
Wherever she goes in the world,
yeah,
she never gets any trouble.
Well, maybe Iran, Lebanon.
All she has to do is flash her Israeli passport, and all of a sudden, people just leave her alone.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
I mean, obviously, there's certain places that you wouldn't go with that passport.
Yeah, I mean, there's,
I'd totally forgotten about that.
Yeah, that's a bit. Yeah, that she actually, because I think
what was she doing in Goa to get in trouble?
I think she was partaking in substances on the beach or something like that, and like the police came over to say something, and she got a passport out and he walked away.
That's mad.
Is what she said. So, who knows? And we've sort of we kind of, you mentioned about the mimicking thing, but I don't think we really
didn't talk about that. What even is that?
So there's a thing you can use this in therapy as well, where you mimic someone's mannerisms, and it makes them feel more comfortable. And she was. Did I say that she was mimicking?
I think so.
Right. Okay. Fucking hell! I must drink more. Makes me more.
I don't know if you mentioned her mimicking me, or you thought she was mimicking you, or what.
I don't know.
She was incredibly charming, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. Yeah.
Very, yeah.
But she, the way she was explaining it is that she'd forced herself to be that way.
She had some mental health issues.
She said she was anxious, didn't she? I think.
I thought she mentioned autism.
Oh yes, yeah. You wouldn't say that that's a mental health issue, though.
Oh, is it not?
No, it's just a thing, a description of way I suppose you process the world.
She mentioned like overcoming it, using doing things to overcome it.
Yeah. Yes. Just exposure, basically. She exposed herself.
I remember you saying that she'd worked out it, and then she lapped it up. That she'd figured out exposure therapy and practiced it on herself without really knowing it.
Yeah, she was BF Skinnered herself, basically. Yeah. And made herself into whatever she wanted to be, essentially. Yeah. Which is what Skinner said, till all these like cognitive people came along.
Fuck, you know what? We should have asked her. If she'd done national service.
But she claimed that she'd lived in the UK. This is why I didn't get how she could have an Israeli passport. And could you qualify for an Israeli passport if you're Jewish in any kind of way then?
I don't know. Don't think so.
Because you said that she referred to herself as a Jewess as well. That was the other thing.
Did I say that?
That's what she said. You said to me she referred to herself as a Jewess.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Right, okay. Is that a bad term?
It doesn't seem normal, that. I think I maybe made that up for a laugh.
Because I think I asked you, and you said no. She said Jewess.
Right. I don't know. I'm blanking on that.
And that was part of the passport story.
Yeah.
Right. Because like Jewess for me has like Third Reich kind of overtones in a negative way, I suppose. That's the only way I've never heard a Jewish person referred to themselves as a Jewess.
Right.
a Jewish woman or whatever.
I wonder if it's going to get monetized, this episode.
You have to ask the question. And but yeah, I've only ever heard of that in a negative way, I suppose. You know, in a film where perhaps an army officer shouts it at someone in a derogatory way. Yeah.
Oh wow!
But
I always think like princess.
Right.
It sounds like princess to me.
Yeah. I you know, maybe it doesn't have any inherent negative connotations with it, other than, you know, me just seeing it in that kind of frame, essentially.
Don't read that last comment out, Larry. Larry Cypress dropping some bombs in the chat.
Well,
Dear me.
you just got to, if you're interested in that stuff, RFK's all into that, isn't he?
RFK has been a bit of a letdown so far for the
Gone
people
quiet,
who thought it
hasn't
was
it?
a hope. Well, there's a big hoo-ha, isn't there, the last week to 10 days,
Is it?
because he's stopped funding. I think it might be $500 million of funding into mRNA technology.
Oh, right, okay.
And the media in the States, the news media, which is owned by the pharmaceutical companies, I think it's 70% of funding for the news shows is from Big Pharma. They're big on defense, saying this is outrageous, and and they get the talking heads out, people like Paul Offit and Peter Hotez and all that, saying how dangerous this is. But I mean, as far as I understand it, and I don't know much about it, he's just sort of removed state funding. It's like, can these companies not afford their own R&D with the bajillions they made on the, the arms spears a few years ago? Why should the state be frigging
funding it,
subsidising them? They make enough fucking money, I think.
I thought that was the whole point of the private system in America. That's the whole argument, isn't it? That it's privately funded, and that's 500 million.
So yeah, he's getting grief for that. But I thought I thought he might do more on the whole thing.
It's the same old story, isn't it? As soon as you get into government, you're silenced, aren't you?
I don't know.
And you go, nothing really happens.
I mean, when you read his book, The Real Anthony Fauci, and think, wow, this guy's the head of Health and Human Services, things are going to move.
You can't do it, can you?
Doesn't seem like it.
No.
So we'll see. He's talking about replacing the mRNA technology with whole virus vaccines.
Right.
To counteract original antigenic sin, which can happen, apparently. I'm not a doctor, don't take medical advice from this podcast, but I think his argument is that when you create a jibber-jabber based on one part of the virus, spike protein in this case, which is harmful on its own, by the way, which they didn't tell you beforehand, it can encourage the virus to mutate because it's not a sterilizing virus, but it says this spike protein, so it'll mutate, and that's how you end up with all these variants coming in quick succession. I don't know. I don't know the truth of it. I'm no expert on this kind of thing. It is what it is. It's the media reaction that is the most interesting, and No Agenda have done a good job of covering this in the last week or so.
Right.
How the media reports on him, because they're owned by Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson J&J, It's a shit show, but we'll see. Won't hold my breath for any sort of major revelations coming out.
No.
Ghislaine's been moved, hasn't she? Moved to a nicer prison.
Well,
Ghislaine Maxwell.
It's about time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So she can be suspiciously... she will hang herself in
Bumped off. I don't know.
in a thing. Why she be moved?
I don't know.
Because she's, going to talk.
Maybe.
Right.
The lawyer Epstein's lawyer's been on a lot of podcasts this week.
Right. What does he know?
What is it? Wolfowitz? No, it's not Wolfowitz. He was Foreign Secretary, wasn't he? Was he Foreign Secretary? Oh my gosh, I'm blagging on his name. Help me out, chat. Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, Dershowitz, Alan Dershowitz.
Right.
And it was great, you know, when you go to Jeffrey's Island, everyone gets a massage.
He didn't say that, did he?
Yeah.
Fuck's
Yeah.
sake.
This is on the Telegraph podcast. This creep. But, you know, I always had my kegs on.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very weird. He's like, I want the Epstein files to come out because I know I'm not in there.
Right. Okay.
He's on that sort of role.
And the Clinton, that was the other thing I saw in the
It's
news.
the guy who got OJ off, who's part of the OJ's legal defense.
Right, the best of the best then.
He prides himself on representing the most evil people.
Yes.
Because the law, upholding the law, is the most important thing.
I think he's done other ones. Isn't he? Does he tap into like the social, grievances, I guess, in attempts to get people off. So I think, you know, with OJ, did they not bring in like race to it all and stuff? Because it would have been right after or around the times of the riots in LA.
Could have been, yeah. I don't remember. I mean, the only thing that like the standout moment for me was if the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit.
Yeah.
It all came down to the glove, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think there was a lot when I've watched stuff and read stuff about it. I think there was a lot to do with race as well, and it was after like Rodney King.
Right, that was LA, was it? I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Same police department, wasn't it? A lot of people were sort of protesting, saying, you know, you've got to find him innocent, and a lot of people saying you've got to find him guilty as well.
Holy shit, he's 86 years old, Alan Dershowitz. But if you just go to news, man, I'll just put Alan Dershowitz into Skynet. Independent 3 days ago. Daily Telegraph 2 days ago. Fox News 1 day ago. All Alan
Jesus, look at his
Dershowitz.
face there.
Oh gosh, it looks great, evil there.
I mean,
The story after story. He's working 3 weeks ago. Dershowitz calls Ghislaine Maxwell an Epstein Rosetta Stone. She knows everything.
uh-oh.
There was a good local story this week. Did you see it? About Preston College.
No?
I'm blanking on the chap's name now. An English language teacher at Preston College was sacked
Right.
for posts he made on Facebook.
Okay.
In a private group on Facebook.
Okay.
He was interviewed on for the Telegraph.
Oh, right.
On the
okay.
podcast.
Oh.
It's been a large story.
From Preston.
From
Sacude.
Jacques Hughes. Can't find it. Simon Pearson. That's the one.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, got Telegraph, The Times, The Sun, Free Speech Union, I think he's getting involved, and Blog Preston, obviously, The Scoop.
Right, okay.
Let's go to it now. I did have this for Headlines of the Week, obviously, but I had time to do the work, so getting loads of pop-ups. A teacher at Preston College has been sacked for comments made on social media. Simon Pearson, 56, had taught at the Ford-based college for 2 decades.
Oh.
He made the comments on YouTube following a CCTV footage.
Oh, so it's
this is
about
badly worded, this.
So
He didn't make the comments on YouTube. He made the comments on Facebook
right.
following CCTV footage of the attack on police officers at Manchester Airport. Do you remember the video of the police officer stamping on the guy's head
First, yes.
in isolation
Yeah.
to brew up a load of shit on Twitter?
Who released that?
Home Secretary, I think.
You kidding?
What's she called? Ed Balls' wife.
Really?
That fucker.
Why on earth would she do that?
Because, well, is it? I don't know. Is it incompetence? I don't know.
Yeah.
They didn't refuse, but it turns out that these two guys twatted a couple of female officers first, broken one's nose.
Well, prior to that, so apparently, when I've read the story, and who knows what's happened in reality, but I'll have my two penneth.
Yeah.
Was on the flight from wherever to Manchester, there was a guy on the flight who allegedly had said something to one of these guys' parents or relatives or whatever, offensive, and one of the lads, I think the skinnier one, from memory, has seen this guy in a cafe or something in the airport, gone up to him, headbutted him, and then the police have found him and then tried to arrest him for assault, and then it's all started kicking off, basically, because he said he thought he was going to die like George Floyd.
Oh, wow. So this Simon Pearson, he also posted about the Southport killings.
Oh,
But it wasn't about the Southport killings. It was about the woman who was arrested for tweeting about the Southport, in prison for 2.5 years
I know, yeah.
for a tweet, I think it was, using the words like two-tier policy. A spokesman for the college told Blog Preston, upon receipt of complaints from a number of our staff, two Muslim members of staff,
Right, okay.
an internal investigation was undertaken into whether some of Mr. Pearson's social media posts were a breach of the college's staff behaviour code and values. Following an investigation and subsequent disciplinary process, Mr. Pearson was dismissed from his employment at the college. Mr. Pearson is preparing to take legal action. He said, "I'm appalled by the way I've been treated. I've dedicated my life to education and to supporting students from all walks of life." He was an English teacher for foreign students.
Right, okay.
That was his job.
Right, okay.
So he's teaching immigrants and asylum seekers English. I was upset by the CCTV footage. This is going back to the Manchester Airport incident, especially the attacks on the female officers. Yet, as soon as I was branded Islamophobic for expressing concern about violent crime, I became a marked man. It was clear that I'd been found guilty by the college. It became a witch hunt, and I had to be eliminated. The CCTV footage and the convictions this week vindicate my position. So the two guys at the airport have been sent down, I believe, haven't they?
For they've been found guilty of most things. I think there was one charge.
They're going to get retried on one
Yeah,
count, aren't they?
somehow. Yeah. Fucking hell.
I cannot allow what has happened to me to go unchallenged. It's a grave injustice that should concern everyone who cares about freedom. I'm determined to fight for justice and for the freedom to raise legitimate concerns in public and private as part of a national debate on extremely serious issues that affect us all. So it's Christian Legal Centre is assisting him. What did Mr. Pearson write? The investigation centred on two posts made by Mr. Pearson. On July 28th, he reposted a YouTube video of the attack on two female officers, saying, "What brave police endured before that was not shown." I think what brave police endured before what was shown by these two savages and the leftist woke media. If these people have no respect for the police and UK law, they need deporting back to their ancestral home and their property confiscated by the state.
Wow, Simon.
They deserved all they got in return. The police deserve a medal. Yeah, I'm not sure about...
Got it quite dark there, Simon.
Like confiscation by the state. I'm not weird there, man. Charge and...
I mean, apply the law, maybe.
Yeah, apply the law fairly.
Yeah.
But hey, it's just an opinion, and this weren't even a public post.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in the Facebook group. It wasn't mentioned that he even worked at the college.
This is the thing, isn't it?
It
where
was-
your employer can kind of say you're bringing the company into disrepute.
It was stool pigeons in the Facebook group
Yeah.
that reported him to the union, to the students teachers union.
Right.
On July 30th, they made a comment on a Facebook post about the killings in Southport in response to posts made by the now jailed Lucy Conley, who had called for mass deportation now. He said, the woman who made that appalling comment about the mosque in Southport is obviously wrong. But where's the jail sentence for the Labour MP calling for people to have their throats slit? So we played that, didn't we? I don't think he was an MP. I think he was a councillor.
Right.
Labour councillor who did this. You know, calling for death of people isn't a good look. Where's the justice meted against those thugs who beat up the police at Manchester Airport? Well, it has come now, Simon. She should not have been jailed for that. People presumed the worst and were outraged by the killings of the 3 little girls. It was wrong, but how many Islamist plots and crimes have been experienced in our country? The Manchester Arena bomber, Lee Rigby, etc. Certain sections of society calling for the genocide of Jews from the river to the sea are also free to express their opinions and make Jewish people afraid to walk the streets. There is 2-tier policy from the top down. Has our country's woke leadership lost its mind? Should we be seeking asylum in America?
No, I don't think so.
So it goes on. There's an interview with him on the Telegraph podcast this week.
Right.
Which, you know, if you wanted to get some more detail, it'd be worth. If you wanted to hear his point of view, anyway. I think this is a dangerous sort of precedent to be sacking people for legitimate views, in my opinion.
Opinions, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you could probably get him on the. You could probably say that was a. You could make an argument that saying savages is a. You could maybe say that it's got like racist connotations.
Oh, thin, man. I think they behave like savages.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what colour they are. They behave like savages. They viciously attacked 2 female police officers.
But I suppose that's maybe where they could have done something.
I'm sure they could, but I mean, why? Why are they trying? They've been lobbied.
Yeah.
To do this, and what concerns me is the overall effect it has, the chilling of free speech, and this is how we end up in shit situations because people are too terrified to speak their mind, and people don't realise that there are people all over who maybe share their view on a certain subject, but people are just too terrified to say it, and that's a bad. No, that's 1984, the path to tyranny. When people are too afraid to speak out. So I support him in his quest to.
Interesting, I suppose, that like someone in that closed Facebook group has reported him. So been infiltrated.
It was people, his friends on Facebook, I think. So there was members of staff.
Oh, right, okay.
Muslim members of staff in the group who reported him.
Right, okay.
What can you do? We'll see what happens. Whether he gets thrown out or he gets a big payday. But he's had to get another job. He's had to go through hundreds of interviews. Oh, the process. So they suspended him 5 months with nothing because they just wanted him to go away. Just wanted him to resign. And but eventually it was 5 months before he had a hearing.
Right. Okay.
On suspension. So, and he's got another job now, but he can't say where.
Right.
Because
there'd be a witch hunt kind of thing.
Yeah. And he sort of blames part of it on his Christianity.
Why is he like a?
He's a
full blown Christian.
Jesus Army.
Right.
Yeah, he's a paid up member of the Jesus Army.
Was in the news recently for being a cult?
Oh, not that. No.
Not the Jesus Army.
No.
The Jesus Army.
It's a soldier of Christ. Right. Okay. And he blames part of the way he's been treated on that. He thinks that Christianity is being persecuted unfairly in this country. You can, that goes back to his 2-tier analogy. He thinks there is different treatment for some religious groups than others. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, I'll check out the Telegraph interview if you're interested. He seemed like a reasonable guy, man. Although, you know, he used some inflammatory language. I probably didn't agree. I thought there was inaccuracies in what he said.
Right, okay.
But like he said, people are riled up. And they certainly were after that Southport incident.
Yeah.
The country was like a powder keg. And one more of those, or two more, is what is the worry that people have.
Right.
About, you know, potential for unrest.
Further
serious unrest, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that there?
Fuck. Why is it playing again?
Are we even streaming?
They must be, because people are adding to the chat.
Yeah, I don't know. Are they, though?
Yeah.
Are they even, though?
Do they
Is that
know?
a new tweet? Christ needs no soldiers or anyone to fight for him. Agreed, Hogdon. Yeah. I'll go with that.
Right.
I think we should fuck off into the
Yeah, I know. I
next.
was going to
Oh
say
my
exactly.
God. It's 10 to 11.
I know.
The sun is a deadly laser.
Yeah.
What did you do with Big Chungus?
Phil's got more confidence than ability.
That was the one I
He's
was
never
looking
had
for.
any formal training.
Yeah.
Right, we'll be back next week.
I'll put my shoes back on.
You won't want to miss next week, Matt.
I know, because I'm all about living off grid now. It's my full-time fantasy at the moment. I've gone deep into it.
Get thinking what questions, what's the, you know, everything you
Do
wanted.
you live off grid?
Everything you wanted to know about being off grid, but were too afraid to ask.
Does he live off grid then?
30 years.
30 years.
Well, over a gradual process, yeah.
Is he,
I think he's still connected to mains water, maybe?
Oh, bore off then. That's the first thing you get rid of.
I might have got that wrong. We'll find out next week.
Okay.
Oh my God. Jesus.
You almost had me
Better
there.
than you. You know, grow some potatoes. Oh, fucking
I've still
off-grid.
not. I've still not harvested them. I've got 2 sunflowers as well.
Right. Great. Cool story, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
Right, see you next week. Sayonara.
Yeah. Ni hao.
I'm a spaz.
You're a big chungus. Wag wham fam, you're going to Somerset. You got caught sucking your fingers on the bus. They say you're aroused by e-scooters at the age of 34. You love fish and nuts. Congratulations on becoming a doctor of thugonomics.
Are you not entertained?
I'm going to aim for the prostate in the men.
Asna!
I like what you got. Good job.
Epic dub.